Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports. When
When it comes to
Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
TexAgs Live.
I feel like I should be listening to the theme song from the Jeffersons. You know, we're moving on up.
We will develop men, we will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
The best way for us to win is to do it together.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
It's been special. The 12th man this past week was unbelievable.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Well. Do we feel better on a Tuesday? Have we turned the page?
Yes, we've turned the page. You have to turn the page.
Yeah.
Especially this week.
I know they had to turn the page, but
yeah,
you have.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to. All my focus is on what happens this Saturday, not what happened last Saturday.
Against Texas. Sorry.
That's right. All I care about is what's going to happen against Texas. Don't care anymore about Auburn.
Yeah, I don't want to say I've moved on, because I look at that as like, is that who we've become, or is it a slump, right? And they can be the same thing. What I'm hoping is that the team that we've seen for the most part of this year, unfortunately the last two SEC games, but the team that we've seen most of the year, the team that plays at Kyle Field most of the year outside of the Notre Dame game, that team, I hope that's the team that we see on Saturday. I think that's the team we're going to be on Saturday. Is that enough to beat Texas?
Well, that I don't know. But I do know they, like you said, they play better at home. Most teams do. Who was it? Was it Richard Zane? Somebody, was it Nick that gave us the stat yesterday about the teams that are leading in the top of the SEC are like 13 and 12 combined on the road. So it's just a fact. It's hard to win in the SEC on the road, and now you're back at home. So is that enough? You know, we'll see. But it's without a doubt an advantage. You can it's proven in the numbers.
Yeah. Look, there's a couple things that they have to do. Okay,
cover somebody.
Well, for sure. But like I'm saying, like this team when they're at their best controls the line of scrimmage. Okay, and in the part of the Auburn game where they made their move, it was early in the fourth quarter, or maybe it was midway through the fourth quarter, and Auburn's yards were very low in that fourth quarter, very, very low. And A&M was getting after the quarterback, Peyton Thorne. Not that they got him per se, but they were getting after it. They were stopping the run. They were forcing Auburn into a passing situation earlier than they wanted. And that's when the game felt like, okay, I think this is the A&M team we signed up for. When it went back to not controlling the line of scrimmage, that's when Auburn was able to get those yards. And unfortunately, that's where the game spiraled out of control. Yeah,
well, without a doubt. We talked about, even before the season started, that A&M should be really strong on the defensive line and be able to control the line of scrimmage. And teams that control the line of scrimmage in the SEC typically win. And that had been the case most of the year. And yet, in the last few games, the defensive line, just quite frankly, for whatever reasons, and Mike Elko said yesterday that there were several reasons involved, or could be several, but they haven't been as good on the defensive line.
Yeah.
And you're seeing the results of that, the consequences.
Let's hear from Coach Elko on the defense. A very astute reporter asked that question about the defense. I think his name was Olin Buchanan.
We've been trying to fix things all year. I think they've shown up in different ways and maybe haven't hurt us. And the last 3 weeks, they've hurt us. I think it's just it's been a lot of different things. It's been an inconsistency. It's been an inconsistency of us leveraging the football and keeping the ball in front of us on a lot of different levels, whether that's in the run game and not leveraging it right and allowing too many breakout runs, whether it's the throw game, then all of a sudden getting over top of us or hitting creases like it did against LSU and piercing us for explosive plays. We've given up way too many explosive plays for us to be good on defense, and that's been the Achilles heel of this defense and this team this year in large part. And so ultimately that all falls on me, and we've got to figure out a way to get it fixed and quick, because this one's not going to be any easier.
Explosive plays, that goes back to the Notre Dame game.
It does. It's been a recurring problem, a recurring nightmare, and it's gotten worse. And that goes back to what I was saying about the defensive line and not controlling the line of scrimmage, not getting the pass rush that they were getting earlier, because Elko said it himself. It's been an issue all year, but maybe it's been hidden. And part of the way it's been hidden is that pass rush and that strong defensive line was masking some of the issues. I saw maybe the third touchdown, one of the touchdowns against Auburn. It almost looked to me like a DB doesn't trust the guys in front of him to make a tackle. So he completely bit on, it appeared to me, a play action. I mean, he's coming in to stop throwing. The guy just walks behind him. He's 10 yards behind him, and you get an easy touchdown. Yeah. Your job is to cover that guy. Somebody else's job is to make that tackle at the, so they've just gotten a little bit in disarray, and we'll see if Mike Elko can't get it all, everybody back on the same page.
So I had to ask about the holding calls that haven't been called in a year. And it's been less than a year, but it's been 30 quarters, and that doesn't include the overtimes. And we'll hear from him here in a second. I don't think it's the SEC had a meeting or like, hey, let's just not have any holding calls against A&M. But it's the kind of thing that if you can alert the officials, or whoever's in charge of them, hey, take a look at this. This is becoming a trend. We need to really even this out a bit.
Yeah, it's crazy because there's been one holding call by an A&M opponent. It was South Carolina, and it was declined, right?
Yeah.
So in 7 SEC games, you've had, with some guys that can rush the passer, and sometimes they're blitzing, all those things. You've had one holding call. Meanwhile, and I'm not saying A&M's not doing it, but meanwhile, every time a team goes back to pass and throws a pass, I'm now to the point where I'm looking for the flag.
Here comes the hold. Yeah, here comes the hold.
And we've seen some defensive holding penalties that, I guess maybe, but you talk about the ticky-tack, and there's some that are absolutely, but some they're getting the call and you're like, well, okay, exactly what are these? So, and I remember one, I think it was against Mississippi State, that was called on Crownover on a run. And I'm thinking, I went back and watched it over and over. I'm like, you're calling holding on that?
Right. I think that was one that Amari had a big run on.
Yeah, it was, or Le'Veon.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so you look at that and then you think, well, what's going on where they never call it against A&M or against A&M's opponents? And I'm kind of with you that nobody made a call about, hey, I'm starting to wonder if there was an email sent, though.
I'm sure there's been a call or an email, but that's why I asked the question. Let's listen to it. Because,
no, I mean, you said nobody in the SEC office is calling and saying, hey, don't call. I'm thinking that probably hadn't been a call, but I wonder if there's been an email, text message.
Yeah, WhatsApp. Let's listen to Coach Elko yesterday as I asked that question.
Mike, I'm not trying to get you in trouble, but I got a question.
Okay.
Can you raise concerns about trends to SEC about officiating? Your opponents have not been called for holding in 30 quarters. That does not include the 4 overtimes.
Yeah. Somebody did this recently in a press conference, so I'll try this. Did you see any holds Saturday night?
Plenty.
Okay.
Anything else fun?
I did see them.
It is frustrating when you feel like that the game sometimes, often, always isn't being called equally. Look, and I'm not. Look,
That's not why
I'm not expecting you to call the game equally because it may be that one team is holding more than the other. But I'm just saying when you actually see it, you wonder why the officials don't call it. Now, I've always said the SEC, they don't put a priority on calling holding, apparently, unless it's on an A&M secondary.
All right, let's hear from one more. I feel like we're like picking on the Aggies, and I'm not trying. Look, you've lost a couple games in a row in the SEC. But the slow starts are a problem.
If you don't see that as a problem, you're not looking.
Right? Like, you don't have to be, like, when I brought up the example yesterday of going all the way back to Mississippi State and Arkansas giving up opening drive touchdowns, let's just kind of target in on, okay, that happens in football. Target in on the way these last few have started from LSU and on, like where you just don't look like you are going. I thought at halftime of LSU, I was like, there's no way they win this game if they play like that. Like, they just didn't. And then they were a completely different team after Connor left. Even the defense played better, which was interesting. Here's my question to Coach Elko, or the answer on the slow starts.
Yeah, again, like different. Like, so need to figure it out. I think each one has kind of played itself out in a different way. And so, you feel like, okay, LSU was one set of problems that you felt like you tried to fix and clean up, and then you go into South Carolina and they get after you with a whole nother set of problems that you then try to fix and clean up, and then the Auburn game is a completely different one. We have not just given balls up over our head at all this year for the most part, and all of a sudden, bam, now that, and so starting fast is critical. Starting fast on the road is even more critical. Starting fast in games like this is paramount. And so I don't know it's as easy as saying like there's one thing that we have to do. We try to be aggressive in how we script things. We try to be different in how we script things. We got to try to figure out a way, and there had been times early in the year where we did, right? We started well against Florida. We started well against Missouri. We got to figure out a way.
Got to start well against Texas. Got to.
Yeah, I don't think you can keep digging yourself in a hole and always counting on, Marcel to bring you back.
Right.
That's just playing with fire, right? And they've gotten burned the last two times, so you've got to go in and be ready to play and not have any mental busts. And I think a lot of it's been mentally.
Yeah.
But you have to ask yourself, we are going to the last game of the regular season. This is who they are. Now, why are they? Are they not fast enough? Are they not, like I said, is it a mental issue? Or do they get, coaches talk about the eye discipline, or guys getting too busy looking in and seeing what's happening and letting guys get behind them, whatever. But whatever it is, it has to be fixed. Otherwise, maybe we'll be spending the late December in Memphis.
I should probably tell the people this is or the Texas Bowl. This is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. You knew that.
I did know that.
We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio.
Yeah.
Thanks for the affirmation.
Palatial.
Yeah. It's also the Holistic Planning
Cool Zone.
Yeah. You can go to investinprosports.com, hook up with those folks. They'll help you get a little piece of a pro sports franchise. It's also the Go Hour presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations.
It's all that.
It is all that.
All that and more.
Yeah. And I saw a thread yesterday talking about the NASCAR first segment. Is funny. It made me laugh. And let's go around the room and say hi to the people. If you want to be a part of the conversation, you can do it multiple ways. You can call us up, 979-693-1150. We'll pick it up on the Boss Firearms hotline, or you can text us at 979-693-1150. That is the Little Sluggers text line. We go behind the glass. We say hi to Nick Savage. Nick, what's up, bud?
Howdy, good morning, y'all.
How are you?
I'm good. Glad we're moving on in the week, and it's time to start, turning the page to the Texas game, and we'll get into that a lot more the rest of the week. I don't have too many early thoughts on it, cautiously optimistic, but just want to share a little note. I'm sure y'all saw this because it made the rounds on Twitter, but tickets for this game, A&M-Texas, now the most expensive regular season college football ticket on record. So, you don't think this game doesn't mean anything? There's all your proof.
Well, I think we all knew it meant a lot,
Yeah.
So Richard tells me it's the highest ever football game. So even including the NFL,
including the
NFL, including college football, obviously. So
you know what?
Regular season game.
You know,
I'm gonna be the McConaughey. We're all you, me, and Lucci will be the McConaughey of Texas A&M on the sidelines. All right, the cameras are gonna be all up on us because the world's watching, buddy.
Well, I could see definitely Lucci. He'll be down there. And, you know, he'll
be with the celebs.
He's got kind of crazy hair like McConaughey's.
Yeah.
You know,
we'll be hanging with, like, Cease.
I think if you're willing to spend, I don't even know what's it going to cost to get in, but thousands. I think you got too much money, right? Either that, you know, like I got to tell you, if I had tickets and somebody came to me and said, "Hey, man, I'll give you $1,000 a ticket," I'm thinking a nice vacation this summer, have a good time, and watch it on TV, in the comfort of my own home, right? But you know, whatever. If I know it's going to be an amazing atmosphere, I will say this: the people that can't afford to pay the outrageous, they're probably not the ones that add the most to the atmosphere.
Sure. So bring your kids, bring all the real Aggie fans out there. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Aggies gather at the Angry Elephant. That's where we find Callie Gardner. Callie, good morning.
Good morning. Happy early Thanksgiving.
Maroon on you. Look at that.
Yeah, I've heard Maroon out this weekend, so I'm just trying to set the tone early.
Yes, let's do it.
Yeah, last time, or one of the days, I was wearing red and we were playing Arkansas, so I was like, I would never wear burnt orange, but, you know.
It's an ugly, you know what? It's funny. I was looking at the show notes that they make for us that it's got the color scheme of the opponent.
Right.
And I saw the burnt orange on, and I just like, can we change it? Can we just do like, I don't know, like a different color? It just put me in a bad mood.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that color. Anyways, let's get to some Aggie sports. The Lady Aggie basketball team is in the Bahamas right now, and Jada Malone had a career best 26 points last night. That helped give the Aggies a 79-57 victory over Southern Miss in the Battle for Atlantis tournament last night. The second quarter was their highest scoring period of the season for the Aggies, and they had 27 points, so it's good to see them putting up some points, making some shots. And the number 20 Texas A&M men's basketball team opens play in the Players Era Festival against the undefeated Oregon Ducks at 3:30 this afternoon in Vegas. And following that game, they will take on Creighton tomorrow after Creighton takes on San Diego State today.
Excellent stuff, Callie. Appreciate that very much. All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back. Justin Lanham. A&M's got a big basketball game tonight, buddy.
Yeah.
They do. They've got a big one. So we'll talk about that with Justin as the Ags are in Las Vegas. Right now we're talking Prize Picks, prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs. You get $50 once you play $5 lineups. They got a couple things going on this week. All right, so here's some promos. Tyreek Hill free pick. What's better than a holiday? A holiday with half receiving yards. So all you need is for Tyreek Hill to have a catch, basically, for more than a half receiving yards. You'll get that. They've got the Picks Giving, celebrating that on Wednesday, giving a chance for everybody to eat. Members will have one of their plays protected with Pick Saving Protected Play. You've got discounts. You got Black Friday. You got December dots. You've got it all when you play Prize Picks. Remember, 2 to 6 players, stats, projections. Pick more than or less than, and watch the earnings roll in. It is prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs. It's Prize Picks. We're back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is the Go Hour presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. Let's talk a little hoops, OB.
Let's do.
Let's go to the Boss Firearms Hotline. That's where we join our buddy Justin Lanham, who breaks down hoops with us every week here on the program. Justin, good morning, buddy.
Good morning, guys. It's great to see you guys this morning.
Yeah. You ready for a little Vegas basketball at, 3:30 this afternoon?
I am. I wish I was there. I wish I was hitting the roulette tables before and then heading over to watch a little basketball.
So talk to us about what you've seen from A&M so far, because there's been some great moments. They have been, Wade Taylor's been more efficient from the three. Obviously, the opening loss, they've made up for it since, but they really need to keep it going this weekend and take at least 2 of these games.
Yeah, I think you said something really important there that I don't think we've mentioned, or at least I haven't mentioned, is the efficiency. We've been worried about Wade, and how much, the quantity and the shots that he's taken, but I do feel like he's been more efficient. I do feel like the shots that he's taken are probably higher percentage shots. He's not just chunking up stuff from the cheap seats. So I do think that, he has been more efficient. I think, if there's one positive that I'll say, I think defensively, I think we've been really good, minus the first half of the Southern game, but I do feel like when we have a focus and I do feel like defensively we've been really good. The only other thing that I will say is I think with the Southern game, I think we saw that the floor is lower than what we thought, right? Like, with how we performed in that first half, I think you could say that the floor is low, but also our ceiling is really high. So there's just a range of where we can play each game.
Justin, I have to admit that I don't know a whole lot about Oregon and their personnel and things like that. So as a coach, you're going into the 5th, 6th game. How much in a game like this do you think the coach focuses on what his opponents do, or is it really all about just what, you just talked about the floor, just trying to raise that level?
Well, I think because, you have such a big staff, I think you're able to spend a good amount of time on what the other team is doing and preparing. And especially because we've had such a long layoff before, you're playing Oregon, they're going to be very prepared and they're going to prepare for what Oregon has to offer. And so Oregon is a solid team. I mean, they watched them a little bit, got to watch a little bit of what they do. And the Biddle kid is really phenomenal inside, and he can kind of score all over the place. I don't know if y'all remember the masked kid from Nebraska last year, the bigger kid inside for them. He didn't really do a whole lot against us, but I remember talking in Memphis with you guys about how I thought that he could hurt us. And he reminds me a lot of him, just can score with his back to the basket, can step outside and, with some pick and pops and hit the three. They hit him on the pick and roll. So he's just kind of all over the place. And you see that. I mean, he's averaging, he's, their highest scoring guy on the team. And so I think that he has a lot to offer.
Talking to Justin Lanham here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Hey, I'm looking at Biddle, his numbers. Dude's legit, man. Like, he's got some legit numbers. 7 foot tall, 6 points, 16 points a game, 10 rebounds a game, and he hits 87% of his free throws.
Yeah, and that's what's scary. I think I was talking to Luke about this. That's what's scary is you can't foul this guy either. Like, you can't sit. A lot of times you think you can send the big guy to the free throw line, and unfortunately, you're not going to be able to in this case. So you got to, just wall up on him, keep your hands off of him. Try to get the ball out of his hands and try to make other guys make plays. So again, whether that comes from doubling down or, just firing a ball screen and, not allowing him to catch it, whatever it is, we got to get the ball out of his hands.
Are they from what you've seen, do they look like they're as fast up and down the court as some of the teams A&M has played?
Well, maybe I take that back. Probably not as fast. And I don't think they're as athletic. I'll be honest. I think we're much more athletic. I think we're going to be the tougher team. I think we're going to win this game. So I'm not necessarily worried about that because I do think that we're going to out tough them. We're going to be more athletic. I think we're going to challenge shots a little bit more than what they've seen. Obviously, they played a tough, close game in Oregon State this last game. And Oregon State kind of gave them a run for their money. And so really, I think that's really been their only tough challenge so far, with us having played UCF, having played Ohio State, I think we've seen a little bit tougher challenges already. So I think that that's going to prepare us well for this game.
Justin Lanham with us here on TexAgs. Justin, when we look at the first half against Southern and some of the shooting we've seen this year overall from the team, right? Beyond Wade Taylor, but overall from the team. Do you think we look at that Southern game maybe a little bit more like, I don't know about this team because of how the season started with the first game against Central Florida?
Probably so. If you win that game, you're probably not looking at that with a magnifying glass as much. You're probably like, it was just a half. They weren't motivated. They just came off a win against Ohio State. But unfortunately, that does scare me a little bit. I think that unmotivated piece scares me, especially against some of these other teams that we play. That maybe again, like I think I was talking to you guys. Reed Arena was half empty. Like, are you going to be able to get up for a neutral site game where you're probably not going to have 8 to 10,000 Maroon fans, yelling for you and cheering for you. So to me, it's just, how motivated are you? And you can't be externally motivated. And that's what worries me about this team is, are we externally motivated? Can we only get up for the big games, or are we internally motivated and have, one goal in mind, and that's to play for championships at the end of the season?
So when you look at, from whatever you've seen about Oregon, and then when you look at what you've seen from A&M, where do you guess that A&M might have an advantage and might be able to take advantage or capitalize on it?
Yeah, I think, again, just the toughness, the grittiness, so the defensive side of the ball is what I would say. That's kind of where I think they're going to have to take this game. I think they're going to have to speed them up, make them play a little bit faster. Just even outside of the Biddle kid, I mean, they've got some really solid players. The Shellstead kid, the 6-foot guard, he's really fast, can get to the rim. I think in the Oregon State game, I think he was the kind of the catalyst for why they got going late in that game. Were able to pull, they didn't pull away. They won by 3 points, but that they were able to get that win. And so they've got other playmakers. They got a guard that transferred in forward from Villanova. They've got another kid from Stanford. So they've got pieces that they can hurt you for sure. And it's not just Biddle, but I do think that we're going to be able to speed them up and just play tougher defense.
Great stuff, Justin. Appreciate your time, man. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Thank you.
See you, bro. Justin Lanham there on the Boss Firearms Hotline. All right, OB.
All right.
Thanksgiving means turkey.
Yeah, it does.
Right. The day before and the day after means, actually, you can't do it the day before. Let's go to the day after.
The day after? Well, if you had more turkey than you can take,
right,
and you need to, get some good beef or pork, and you know what? Maybe even some turkey.
Yeah.
Chicken. There's no better place to go than 1775.
It's my carnivore hangout. That's where I go to get. But then, to be honest with you, I carb it out too, dude.
You what?
Carb it out.
Carb it out.
Sorry.
Okay, I thought you were saying something.
Gen Z hipster here.
Carnivore.
No, I got to get my
you can
mac
do that
and cheese
because you got to
queso.
get the queso mac and cheese.
Yeah,
you have to.
Baked potato guy.
I like baked potatoes, but I can get a baked potato anywhere. I can't get that queso baked potato mac and cheese.
I think
everywhere.
we got a queso baked potato.
That might be. That might be a winner.
That might be the winner.
Sprinkle some brisket in on top of that with the.
See, we'll call it the OB potato
or the obese. But,
obese mac and cheese potato. Open Thursday through Saturday, 11 a.m. until sold out. Online ordering turns off at 10 a.m. 8203 Raymond Stoughton Parkway in College Station. 979-492-6241. The website is 1775txbbq.com. And we are back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is the Go Hour presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. Let's talk to the expert that is Charean Williams, our Aggie Hall of Famer, and of course from Pro Football Talk. Let's go to the Boss Firearms Hotline. That's where we find Charean. Charean, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing? Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving to you.
You know, Charean, I got to tell you, I'm going to right off the top, I'm not doing that great. I did not have a good football weekend because the team I wanted to win, the Aggies, did not. And quite frankly, the team I wanted to lose, the Cowboys, did not. Because I see no value in the Cowboys winning. And it's odd, though, as much as upset as I would have been about the Aggies, it really didn't matter. So how crazy was that? How crazy was that?
He's very scratchy, but I think the Aggies loss and the Cowboys won was kind of summed up the weekend.
Hey, Charean, are you hearing us very scratchy? Is that what you're saying?
I got you guys are very, very scratchy. I can barely hear you.
Let's do this. We'll send you a Zoom number or a Zoom link. You can just call it. We'll send it to you here in a second. I think Brian Broadcasting's having some issues there. All right, we'll drop it there with Charean. We'll bring her back in there. So, yeah, it's weird being a fan. Not a fan itself, but like where you sometimes root for your team to lose. I've been there.
Yeah.
Right? But the way it's been for me is more like I don't root for us to lose when the game starts.
Right.
It's kind of before the game, like we could sure lose this game, so we could fire this guy. Like it'd be great. Like let's move on. Many times with the Texans.
Well, with the Cowboys anyway. I'm looking at it in this way. You're not gonna go to the playoffs, so you should get the best draft pick possible.
Right.
So, I have to admit, I will watch the game until I think that they can't come back, and that's okay. So it's kind of, I even contradict myself. But when it's over with, I know, it's best that they lose.
Right.
It's never best that the Aggies lose. Never.
No.
There's never a scenario when it's best for the Aggies to lose because you don't have a college draft. Or a draft for colleges.
But if it meant getting a different coach, you don't think so?
Do you
think LSU wished they would have gotten rid of Les Miles a little bit earlier?
They do in retrospect, but when that game kicks off, I'll admit I wanted that last game that Kevin Sumlin coached against LSU. I wanted
a win.
I wanted to win.
Yeah.
Now, in retrospect, were they better to move on? Yeah, but in that game, I can't bring myself to root against them.
Yeah. I'm the same way. There were never in A&M history have I wanted them to lose a game for a coach to be fired. Although I've thought that might be the best thing that could happen.
I've done that for the Cowboys on many occasions.
Yeah, I've done that for the Texans.
Yeah.
I've definitely, and I'm trying to think. I've probably done it for the Rockets.
What's going on with the Texans, by the way?
They're not the same team, huh?
Unless they're playing the Cowboys.
Well, they looked good in the second half of that game. No, I think it's poor offensive line and C.J. Stroud trying to do too much.
I've always said that I don't think you can have a great team without at least a good offensive line. And I think the improvement in the offensive line has been the primary reason that A&M has had the success that they've had.
Yeah, I agree with that. OB, what did you make of Reuben Owens? Yes, I guess I forget exactly how he phrased it, but he's been out there. He's been practicing.
He's been out there moving around a little bit, running a little. I think I'm going to believe that Reuben's going to be available to play. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm just going back to Mike telling us that Jabri Barber, he's starting to get out there and probably, we don't expect him. Then we out there saw him playing against Florida. I'm like, oh, okay.
Right.
So I think Mike likes to keep his opponent guessing up until the last minute and wondering.
Yeah.
And I think I'm betting that's what's going on here, because I know he hadn't played all year, but if you have a guy that's at least capable of making a big play in this game,
you need him.
You need him.
But to me, having a very healthy Chase Basantis,
it's huge.
Huge.
Offensive line, man.
Yeah.
And look, Shanahan and Dewberry, they've done an admirable job. But the fact of the matter is, if Chase DeSantis isn't your best offensive lineman, if he's not, then Trey Zune is, and Chase is your second best offensive line, or vice versa.
But I think it goes back to what Coach Elko said yesterday. You're just a lot thinner when you don't play those guys, right? So the rotations have to be significantly longer. Yes, you love Cam, you love Shanahan, but when you have everybody together, it just gives you much more length.
Well, it does, except you don't rotate those offensive linemen in as much as you do.
No.
When was the last time you saw Zune sit down?
All right, let's go to the Boss Firearms Hotline. We'll talk to Charean Williams here on TexAgs. Sorry about that. I know there's been some phone issues there. All right, so let's get into it. How are you feeling? We'll go kind of a back and forth. How are you feeling about this game against Texas, considering how the last couple of SEC games have gone?
Well, I think the only positive thing is it's at home. I said earlier, I said a bunch of times on this show, I thought they were going to get better and better and better every week. I haven't seen that. I think the last 3 games have not been their best football that they played this year. And I don't know how much that is losing Moss. If Ruben Owens comes back and can even play limited snaps, maybe that changes things back. I don't know. And I'm not blaming Amari Daniels at all. He's been great, but he's better in a role with another running back. When you have those 2 running backs, I think that somebody that complements him, I think he's outstanding. So I'm not trying to lay anything on him at all, but I just think having those 2 running backs there was a really big deal for this offense. And I don't know if that doesn't explain the defensive line not getting to the court. I know about the holding penalties. Great question yesterday. I understand no holding penalties, but you still got to find a way to get to the quarterback, and they're not doing that. That defensive line is hyped. I heard it all night, Saturday night, that this player's a stud, that player's a stud. You're not getting to the quarterback. You got to find a way. You got to find a way without blitzing, and you got to be able to tackle, and they don't look like they even know how to tackle anymore. So those are all concerns. I probably have more concerns than that I do anything else, but it is at home, and I think that gives A&M a huge advantage, and they're going to be hyped up, and they're going to be ready to play. So then it's just a matter of, can you go out and get it done? So they have a big opportunity in front of them. Can they take advantage of that? They've had 2 other opportunities, and they weren't able to take advantage of that. If you just won one of those 2 games that you were favored in, you'd be sitting really good right now. If you'd won both of them, you probably would be in the playoff, guaranteed. But that didn't happen. So now you've backed yourself in a corner. So come out fighting and get it done.
Charean, the one guy that I really think has gotten better each week is Marcel Reed. Even if I'm not saying he's perfect, but don't you agree that he looks like he's much more in command?
Yes, I do agree, and I thought that was probably his best game that he played. Yes, especially in the passing game. And we know he can run, and I wish we'd see that a little bit more.
Agree.
Using his legs like they did in the LSU game, and maybe we see that this week. And I don't know how much of that, again, is not having Moss out there, but I agree. I just think he's continued to improve week in, week out, and that's expected because of the few starts that he's had. I think that's going to continue.
Talking to Charean Williams here on TexAgs Live. Charean, I think about this matchup and the 2 paths it could mean. Let's kind of go down those paths. You win this game, you go to the SEC championship for the first time ever. You lose it, you finish your regular season losing 3 straight SEC games. This one game already means so much for this fan base. But considering those 2 outcomes, just take it from there.
Yeah, if you had told us before the year started, this is where we'd be, we'd all take it. But I think just the 2 losses kind of sour the thing. And you're right, if you ended with 3 consecutive SEC losses, then it puts a bad taste in your mouth on the season, despite the fact that it has been an overwhelming success. I mean, with what Elko's done and turning this thing around very quickly. And I saw some stupidity so I've tried to avoid it because the idiots are out there. But, let's fire Mike Elko. Catch a clue, people. I mean, seriously, the guy's done a great job. And he's turned around the culture of this program. It's headed in the right direction. This season is better than Sark had in his first season, whoever else you want to say in their first seasons. He's had a great first season. But to finish it off and to make it complete, I think I'm with you. You have to have this win. And if you beat Texas and have the regular season that you've now had, anything else is a bonus. Now, it's going to stink if you win this game and lose to Georgia and watch Texas go to the playoff while they're sitting at home. But it still will be a successful season for A&M to get to the championship game, to beat Texas, all those things. Nothing anybody would have dreamed of before this year started.
Do you think the guys that play now understand what this game means? Do you think they fully understand? You know, because look, they were 10 years old the last time it was played, and is that worrisome?
No, I don't think so. I mean, they'll feed off the crowd in this one. They know how much it means to everybody else who's been there, and they'll learn. I mean, this will be the first of many. Obviously, I saw yesterday it's the most expensive ticket in football history, college, pro, anything else, which is interesting. So that's how you know how much it means. The ratings are going to be through the roof for this game. They were talking about it last night. I had to watch Justin Tucker's kick again last night because he was playing in the game. They were talking about hyping up A&M and Texas. I'm like, do I really have to see that one more time? Please get rid of that picture. They'll learn, but no, they're going to be hyped and ready. And Olin, if you're not ready to play a game against your rival, whether you know it's your rival or not, in an atmosphere like that, for a spot in the SEC title game, like you need to go find something else to do.
Everything's out there.
You need to go find something. Go play checkers or chess or do knitting. Do something else, because this is what it's all about right here. This game means more than it's ever meant for both teams.
Charean, we got to do Aggies in the NFL, but I have one last question, and we're running out of time. So let me just get this question, then we'll do Aggies in the NFL.
Okay.
Dumb question. I know. I had a good one yesterday. I have a dumb one here. How much is on the line for Texas? Like, we know A&M's extra motivation.
Yeah.
The rivalry, getting into the SEC championship game. Texas wants to win the SEC, sure, but they know they're in the playoffs. There's nothing that can happen that won't put them in the playoffs. So just, from a motivational standpoint, from a getting ready standpoint, from Quinn Ewers, maybe his ankle's all right, but from all that standpoint, are we going to see a Texas team that needs it the way A&M needs it?
No, there's no question. I mean, they're in the playoff. They've gotten their main goal. Of course, they want to win the SEC, particularly in the first year. It's maybe their last opportunity to beat Georgia this year. They want to prove that they're better than Georgia, so they certainly want to get there. So there is motivation, but a loss doesn't kill their season. Not like A&M's, and it's not going to kill the season. But again, it does put a sour taste with the 3 consecutive losses, where Texas knows they're going to the playoff either way. So yes, A&M should be way more motivated in this game than Texas is, but Texas does have a lot to play for.
All right, Charean, let's do Aggies in the NFL.
Yeah. We're going to go with the honorable mention of Mike Evans, 5 catches, 68 yards in his return. The 1,000-yard season streak likely is over. It's not going to happen. He kind of conceded that last week, but can still come back and help the Bucks make the playoffs. And if he continues to play the way he did Sunday, he will do that. Devon Achane is third, 10 carries, 32 yards, 3 catches, 24 yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns to help the Dolphins keep their postseason hopes alive. He's playing really well for them right now. Number 2, Tyrell Dodson got cut by the Seahawks earlier this year. Dolphins picked him up. He had 5 tackles, an interception, and a pass defense, again, with the Dolphins keeping their playoff hopes alive. And then number 1, if you didn't see it last Thursday night, Myles Garrett, speaking of motivation, was pretty motivated going against TJ Watt and had something to prove, wanted to prove he was really Defensive Player of the Year and that he's the best edge rusher in the NFL. He did that, 5 tackles, 3 sacks, a forced fumble, 3 quarterback hits. He was just outstanding from start to finish, and the Browns upset the Steelers in that game because of one Myles Garrett.
Charean, got to drop it there. We got to hit a break. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
All right, we'll hit a break. We'll be back on TexAgs Live. We're back on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio, the Go Hour, coming to a close, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. FBS and their team of experts are here to help you with the appliances that make your house a home. They carry all the top brands to make your life easier with appliances that fit any budget. They've been caring for Texas since 1988. They have your trusted brands like Bosch, expert staff, trained installers to guide you through your purchase, because FBS Appliance wants to be and is your trusted appliance store. Visit any of their 8 showrooms across Texas, especially the one right here in College Station, or visit them online at factorybuilderstores.com. OP, in the last 40 seconds we have, I'll let you think about it. Texas, how much is this game going to mean for them? I think rivalries always mean something, don't get me wrong, but A&M's the desperate team in this matchup. Texas knows they're in. Does that play a factor in this?
Well, I know this. When I'm in the casino, even if I'm playing with house money, I want to win it. I want to get more, right? So they're playing for seeding as much as anything else, too. You know, you don't get the bye unless you're the conference champion. So, yeah, I think it means everything to Texas.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's exactly the way to answer it. But I also think when you're the wounded cat in a corner, you come out hopefully with a different mentality. Thank you, OB. We'll hit a break, and we'll come back with Jamie McCoy. We'll see you in a bit. TexAgs Live. My friendship with our next guest has always centered around this game, right? Every time we talk to Jamie McCoy, it's not about this game per se, but about this rivalry every single time. This is TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio, and we go to the Boss Firearms Hotline. That's where we find Mr. McCoy. Jamie, am I right? Like, this one means a lot to everybody, but I mean, every time we talk, there's a disdain in your voice for the Longhorns.
Oh yeah, I mean this one. The feeling is palpable. There's a lot at stake. There's a lot at risk, and it all circles back to this. And it's funny how, despite the circumstances and what we hoped would happen throughout the season, we find ourselves landed in this spot where this game is still super important for us, and everything that we've preached about going back to training camp in the spring when Elko first got hired, it's right here in front of us. And although we hadn't played the way that I know we're capable of, we still got everything ahead of us. So I'm hoping the guys realize that and take hold of the opportunity and don't let the fans down, because the fans got everything riding on this, it feels like.
Well, let's think about that for a moment, too, because I don't care how you got here. I mean, I do care. But if A&M wins, I don't care how you got here, right? If A&M wins this game, then you know what? Not all forgotten, not all forgiven, but it feels a lot better, right? Like you're going to Atlanta and you can kind of deal with the issues that happened because you still reached your goal of making the SEC championship game. Now the next goal, win the SEC, and then obviously the playoffs. But if you lose this game, then it's like, oh my gosh, I know I saw progress. I just didn't see it at the end of the year.
Yeah, like you said, it's the tale of two worlds. I mean, losing this game is just, you'd have to, you're back at the little brother mantra. You're living with this for another year. Not only that, you're allowing Texas to come into the SEC their first year, and not guaranteed that they would win an SEC championship, but just the fact that they could say they went. And on the flip side, just the fact to be able to say, y'all thought y'all had it, y'all had the easiest schedule, and you didn't get there because of us. I mean, there's so much riding on this. There's 14, 15 years of just bad blood, talking mess, everything that you could equivalate to this game. And man, there would, to me, like you said, there would be no sweeter taste than to still fulfill our destiny and get to the SEC championship for the first time since we've been in the SEC and do it in this fashion. Like you said, I don't care if we won by 0.2 points. Would hate to not be in a situation where we got to go for a damn 2-point conversion again. But I'll take it any way, any form. Would love to kill them and stomp them like I know we're capable of, but I'll take a 1-point win all day.
Jamie, I was listening to the press conference yesterday. I was in the press conference. I participated in it. And I kind of like, all right, enough with, do the players understand the significance of this game? I felt like that was a question that came up again. But here I'm going to ask you that same thing. Like, why? I'll start off with this. Let's take a route to get there. Why do you despise Texas so much? What is it about? Obviously, they're your rival. But with you, it goes deeper than that.
For me, what it is, I mean, I fully didn't understand it even back in my playing days. So these guys are young enough, 18 to 22, that they really don't get it. I mean, especially not having played the game. But going back to our time, if you win a game, lose a game, you kind of got that taste in your mouth, and you kind of want to make it right the following year or keep it going that following year. But for these guys right now, it's like they can't relate because the game hasn't been there. It hasn't been, there's nothing to look back on in their past. They all were little kids before they got to really feel the meaning of this game. Me personally, once I was done playing, I got to see not only in the NFL locker rooms dealing with Texas players and dealing with, we're better than y'all are better than us, all this. The thing that I despise the most is Texas and their fans, they have a certain arrogance. It's I do lunch with a group of guys every Monday. I got like 3-4 Baylor Bears and 2 Longhorns, and Oh my gosh, when Sloss went over there, we just I can't even describe it. It's nothing more than this arrogance that just we're supposed to be here. We'll do what it takes. We'll pay what we need to do. And hey, we got an easy schedule. We can. It's just this arrogance. That's like, man, and more so than that, adding on my fuel for the hate. Half of the fans that you run across didn't even go to Texas. It's like, where I get it. If you live in Texas, you want to be a Cowboy fan, more power to you. Houston Astros, whatever. Those are professional teams. But you'll have people that went to Baylor that are diehard Longhorn. And it's like, this makes no sense at all. Like, y'all are T-shirt fans. Y'all's fan base is, half of y'all got some sense, and then the other half, and really it's not even half. I say 35% have sense. The other 65, they just spat off at the mouth. They hate A&M. They hate everything about us. And for me, that fuels my hatred more for them, because it's like, y'all are idiots. Granted, they have a good team this year, but I'm hoping and praying that we go out there and just play our game, play a comfortable game, do what we're supposed to do, and I know that it'll take care of itself.
Look, I think they're one of the top 5 teams in the country based on the athletes that they have and what I've seen on the field. But I also think it is fair to bring up, I don't think you guys have played many teams. You could say A&M hasn't either, okay? And I would argue that, because I'm more of a, let's talk about that particular storyline when that storyline happened, right?
Absolutely.
Like, when A&M played Arkansas, Taylor Green was at a different level. When A&M played Florida, DJ Lagway was not the DJ Lagway we saw here, but Graham Mertz was pretty good, and they got both of them. When Texas played Florida, they got the guy from Yale, the third stringer. So I think these are all valid. It does not mean that I don't think this team is elite. What it does mean is, when those games that could bite you happen, they haven't taken on the teams that I think. And what was that stat I saw on Twitter? Cal, you might be able to bring it up. Every team in the SEC has played at least 2 teams with a winning record, and UMass has played 2 SEC teams with a winning record, but Texas has only played 1. I believe that's the stat. Yep, I'm right. So that just kind of goes on to where we are here.
Oh, yeah, played 1, and then what happened? They lost to that 1. It's like, if it's not set up on a silver platter for them, like I said, they're a good team, but they haven't faced any adversity. And going back to what you said about A&M schedule, you could argue that we haven't played just the toughest SEC schedule as well, but I would argue the fact that, why do we keep getting set up in these night games? It's almost like they're setting us up for failure. I mean, South Carolina is on a tear right now. If Texas had to play them, I know it wouldn't be a cakewalk like they want to make it out to be. Anybody that would have to go and play Jordan Hare, that environment was electric this past Saturday night. It just doesn't compare, and that goes back to my question before with the hatred. It's like, any fan, any true fan would be able to look at the context of both of our seasons and say, man, A&M kind of got a tough draw. We have had it pretty easy. But if you can't do that, then again, you're not a true fan. You're just a troll trying to make some noise. And again, to go back and piggyback on the second part of your question, these kids at A&M right now, I don't believe they understand the magnitude of it, because if they did, they wouldn't play the way that they played against South Carolina and Auburn, because the A&M fan base is ready to erupt. We keep getting, it's a roller coaster every year that we get to this peak, and we're just about to get to the top of the mountain and be able to overlook everything, and we'll slip and fall and come down like there's oil on the stairway or something. So if they truly understood that, you'd see a different passion out there on the field. And that's what I'm interested to see this coming weekend, is if everybody's scratching and clawing like their hair's on fire, if Scorton is coming off of the edge and the tackle's not there, but I go chase it down and only allow 2 yards. I didn't see a lot of that this past Saturday. It was like when they weren't in the play, they just were content with not being in the play. And you can't play like that. You got to scratch and claw for every inch.
So what is that? What the problem was? You think this was like, if you were to look at these last couple losses, beyond going on the road in night environments, right? Beyond that, like, That is life in the SEC for 90% of the teams. 97% of the teams have played a night game on the road. 98% of the teams have. Sorry, there is one that hasn't. But and that they will. And if they win, they win, right?
More power to them.
But the truth is that beyond that fact, that is a huge fact. It is a fact in the SEC. What was the other record, Callie? Was it 14 and 15 SEC teams
on the road?
On the road. That's the record. So beyond that, what have you seen? Because A&M, some of this is self-inflicted. Some of this is a lot of it, most of it is A&M's fault.
Yeah, absolutely. It's shooting yourself in the foot. Bond has been great for us all year, but we can't come out there and miss that field goal. We had everything ahead of us. We can't drop that snap on first down. We can't drop an open pass to not keep the chains going and keep their offense off the field. Granted, that was later in the game, but South Carolina and Auburn, going back to the beginning of both of those games, you can't come out and put yourself in a hole. Both of those games, if you just get off the field on the opening drive, it completely changes the outlook. It does something for the crowd. It does something in your favor. And yeah, you're right. It's been a lot of self-inflicted wounds, whether it's the missed tackles, the holding calls that have nothing to do with the play, but somehow we always seem to get spotted. The lack of calls on our end, where it seems like in South Carolina and in this Auburn game, the whistles were one-sided. And I know I'm biased saying that, but it's like, how are we always the ones flagged for these minute calls that don't affect the play? You're on the backside of something, and the ref just happened to see that. But you don't see our guys getting held, which I've seen our guys get held a lot. And it seems like they just swallow the whistle when it comes to us. Now, things may change. I know, I'm biased again in saying that ESPN would want to see Texas do nothing more than come out there and beat us. But hopefully 12th man comes out, shows up, which I know they will, and we're able to use that home field night game advantage in our favor. And I absolutely see that being a weapon this weekend. And again, this team that we're facing, they are front runners. If you give them the opportunity to go up and get 21-0 like we did against Auburn, they'll go out there and make you look silly. But if you just put some fight up, if you do pressure on pressure, they will fold. Quinn Ewers, he won't even get sacked. He'll just drop to the ground and say, please don't hit me. If you put the pressure on, it will bust the pipe. And it's a matter of us, again, not shooting ourselves in the foot and saying, let's go. We got something to fight for. We're going to fight for it, and we're going to see who wants it more. And I'm hoping we do.
Let's talk about some positives. I know people don't want to do that. What are some of your positives from what you've seen recently? Because I think Marcel Reed has looked better.
Positives would be the resiliency of this team. In both cases, you're down a lot on the road, and I know from games that I had to try and survive a moment like that, or us as a team, and it's hard to overcome. When things start going against you and the momentum isn't on your side, it's easy to fold up the tent and just say, man, let's get out of here, let's get on the plane and get on the bus and get back home. But in both cases, I think it was 17-0 with South Carolina and 21-0 with Auburn. I love the fact that we're able to get back and fight, whether we come up with defensive stops, whatever the case may be. Offense gets rolling. We're able to get back in these games. And in both, well, not in the South Carolina case, but the fact that we were able to come back and take the lead and give ourselves a chance to win that game, you got to love that. Marcel has been a shining point for me. There's things that I know that he could do better. I like that, and this is just still him being so young, but there's balls where it requires a certain touch, whether it's a short one that he missed to Jabri Barber or it's one that he's trying to thread in and push it down on a rope deep. There's certain touch that you don't get it until you go out there and experience it, and then you miss the throw and say, dang, I got to do this better. I got to be better on this. I love seeing Basantis out there. I love hearing the rumors of Ruben out there. We did somewhat a better job of tackling, but still not good enough and letting people get behind us. So My main thing is just our resiliency. If we can just not put ourselves in a situation where we're in a hole and we're trying to climb out, if we can just go toe to toe and fight, I think we do ourselves wonders in this game this upcoming Saturday.
How do you think Amari's looked in the absence of Le'Veon? Not talking about the last play, just in general.
Oh, I think he's looked great. I think they put more of a workload on him, and he seems to be handling it well. Granted, you hate to see the situation, how the game ended. And, I was just upset after the game. I didn't put anything out there and, cast anything on that kid. It was just a rough moment, and you felt for him. Because he played a great game, and we're not in that situation without him. I mean, he's running the ball tough. Bussey's running the ball tough. Hopefully, we're able to get another hand in the pile this weekend and moving forward. But no, I think Amari has done. I think he's taken on more of the share, which he should, and I know that he's been expected to, but I think he's handled it well. I think if you get Basantes out there for the whole game and everybody come and we feed off of the energy that'll be in the building, I think holes open up. I think we get to dictate this weekend. It's not like us having to be out there facing crowd noise and facing the amped up crowd. It should be us on our side and defense and the 12th man doing what it needs to do on our end.
Talking to Jamie McCoy here on TexAgs Live. Jamie, let's close out with some thoughts about the atmosphere. The atmosphere, I've seen some pretty electric atmospheres at that field, right? Some pretty great ones. If A&M wins, I think the atmosphere will be second to none, right? Atmosphere before the game, going to be ridiculous. You better not have a slow start. So just kind of give me your thoughts on what Kyle Field is going to be like.
I see it being loud. I see it being electric. Like I said, I hate that we lost the game. Not only this past game with Auburn, but the one with South Carolina. Because if you got two 10-1 teams coming in here facing each other, I think it blows the capacity out the water. I still think we go out there and get it done as far as breaking the record, just because of everything that's at stake with this game. 15 years in the making. But I see it being loud before everything even pops off. Maybe 30, 45 minutes before the game, I see everybody being in their seats. I see nobody coming in late. I see all corners being filled. And I just see us using that, like I said, as a weapon. And I've been harping on that. We as Aggies know what it's been like being in the South Carolina Stadium and the Auburn Stadium, and how tough a night road game can be. And granted that the proximity between us and Austin is so close, it's not like they're having to do any too bad of a travel or anything like that. And, I heard Elko say that they didn't get back till 4 a.m. It's not a scenario like that, but I absolutely see the crowd being loud enough to not only affect the defense, but do something for the offense. I think it's going to be an extra needed boost. I think Marcel is going to feed off the energy. I think our receivers feed off the energy. I think Amari wants to get that taste out of his mouth, so I see him running that much harder. I see everybody digging and giving a little bit more grit, even the 12th man. I see everybody coming back, waking up that next morning with a hoarse voice. That's what it should be. Everybody should not have a voice after this past weekend. And if we can win, oh my goodness, the celebration is going to be epic. I would love for us not to storm the field and not let Texas feel like, oh, here they go, with Auburn and South Carolina storming the field on us. I kind of love it because I'm like, yeah, we got some respect. Y'all rushing the field after beating A&M. Finally, we're at this stature where we're nothing more for A&M fans to not rush the field should we win. But I know it's going to happen. It's a top 5 team. You hadn't played them in years. So I see us rushing the field. I just wish we had a little bit more pride and didn't do that. But hopefully it's a good night on Saturday night, and we're all leaving happy and heading to Northgate.
Jamie, the rules have changed about field storming. They have. And I don't make the rules anymore. I just, I agree with you on some of the other ones. But if you win beating your rival and you're going to the SEC championship game, a top 5 ranked rival, and you're going to the SEC championship game for the first time since 1998, two-way conference championship game. I think, all right, guys, have your fun, but let's get there first.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to sound like the Grinch or grandpa here. That's just me selfishly wanting to say we're better than that. We ain't even gonna give y'all the satisfaction of rushing the field. But with everything that's at stake that you just mentioned, we're absolutely gonna rush the field.
Jamie, I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, no problem, David. Gig 'em and let's go get this thing done. Saw 'em off, man.
All right, saw 'em off. Hey, and by the way, as I exit this interview, I was in South Carolina when they stormed the field, and it hurt to watch that. Right? There was no satisfaction that like I watched. I was like, oh my gosh, they're rushing the field on us. But whatever. Let's just get a victory on Saturday. Right now, we're talking Ground Shuttle, Brazos Valley premier transportation provider. Well known for their frequent and reliable rides to George Bush Intercontinental Airport. They also offer private car service and charter service for game day or any day. If you're trying to get to Bush, they're going to take care of you in style, and it's going to be comfortable. You name it. They can book any vehicle in their fleet to accommodate your group sizes for some of their charter services. If you need luxury sedans to full-size shuttles, hassle-free to get your group to sporting events, corporate meetings, dinners, and evenings out. Of course, as I mentioned, they can get you to the airport as well. Learn more at groundshuttle.com. That is groundshuttle.com. Let them do the driving.
What's up, TexAgs? This commercial break is brought to you by my good friends over at Aggie-Land Chevrolet, the official automotive sponsor of TexAgs.com and me, Billy Lucci. Greg Gunn is the proud owner of Aggie-Land Chevrolet and invites you to visit the dealership to experience true Aggie hospitality. From their friendly staff to the experienced service team, Aggie-Land Chevrolet is TexAgs approved. Check out the dealership off of Highway 6 in Bryan or go to AggieLandChevrolet.com and tell them Billy Lucci sent you by.
All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Jamie Morrison's with us. They're heading out to South Carolina. The last time A&M went to South Carolina wasn't great for football. We hope it's going to be fantastic for volleyball, right?
Thought about that in the drive-in. And I have a proposition to make. I think we need to find one more Jamie and just make 9 o'clock the Jamie Power Hour.
The Jamie Power Hour,
And then like once a month, maybe get us all together and just shoot the shit.
Do we have one? Do we have another Jamie that we know?
We got to find one.
Oh, Jamie Morrison, our photographer. We could put her on the show.
Yeah.
All right.
She former photographer who helps us out still.
We got to make it happen.
So
yeah, South Carolina.
South Carolina. So let's talk about the last week, because there was a rough patch and then a really good patch.
Yeah,
right?
no. And I said it last time I was in here. I thought we were playing volleyball for good little stretches of this. And I was disappointed that our team wasn't seeing the result of it, of getting wins. And I think we've seen that. And in both of these matches, and we lost the first. I've talked a lot to our team about responses, and I think the first set against Georgia we lost, and we responded and played 3 good sets and won 3-1. And then this last one we went up 2-0 playing really good volleyball, and all of a sudden LSU pushed, and our response in the fourth was, nope, we're just going to go back to playing the volleyball we were, and that's good enough to go beat a lot of teams. So I think we're playing our best volleyball of the year at the right time, and that's an exciting thing.
Sometimes, the other players are trying hard too, right? But have you ever figured out maybe trends of why certain teams maybe struggle to start off games?
I think sometimes there's a mindset and a lead-in. We talk a lot about what happens upstairs in our mind, and the way that we go about that day sometimes is it. It depends on the team. Sometimes it's just, hey, we're not dialed in and focused an hour and a half beforehand, and like I call it sharpening the sword as we get closer to the battle. And sometimes it's just you don't start off playing well. You got to ease into a match, and that's your group, and you got to find ways to manage that and work around it. So I've talked a lot as I've been in here. Just every group's team, like athletes, is different, and it's figuring out yours.
How do you get a team focused before a game? Because it's one thing to say, hey, we got to get focused, but like, are there strategies that you all use?
Yeah, we talk a little bit about pregame routines. We talk a lot about finding your 5. Is one of the things that we talk a lot about. That's just that us as human beings, and this is in any realm that you work in, just we have a different levels of activation. One would be, I just woke up, I haven't had a cup of coffee, I'm groggy, or I just had that really, powerful nap and woke up in the middle of it. I don't feel like I can move. You're not going to perform well. And then you got a 10, which will go the coffee analogy. You had 15 cups and you're shaking and you're nervous and you're all of these things, and you're like, I'm not going to perform well. And somewhere in the middle of that, where I feel the pressure of this moment, but I'm able to manage it, like, is my 5. And as you go through game day, your goal should be to kind of elevate yourself slowly up to that 5. And maybe you're going to get to a 6 or a 7 and have to take a breath and bring yourself back. But we don't want to come in at a 1. So it's what music we listen to, and that's going to be different for different people. It's the pregame routine, and how do I go about that? It's what I eat, what I drink. Maybe I don't want to have 17 Red Bulls right before I play volleyball. But I think it's playing around with all of those things and figuring out, again, every athlete's different, what works for them.
How surprising that your second season, regular season, is about to come to a close.
It's unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
I still remember the first time I stepped foot in here.
Yeah.
Nervous about what was going to happen, and now it feels like a second home. So it blows my mind that season 2 is almost over. And as that is coming, I just want to make sure I give some thanks and some props. And I think we've created a really cool game experience that people come in. I think we've created a really cool brand around our program. So I'm going to give some shout outs, actually. Sam Thornton, Ashley Fowler, Chris Bishke, and there's plenty of other people that go along with that, but just integral in terms of bringing a vision to life in terms of what this thing's apart, or what this thing looks like.
And then the product on the court as well has matched that.
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to my staff then, if we're going to give more. Yeah, no. I think our players have worked really hard. Our staff has worked really hard to make sure that, again, we're playing volleyball at the highest possible level. And that's not just the coaching staff. That's strength and conditioning, sports psychology, all the little pieces that come along with that, of making sure that we're healthy, that we're the, most able-bodied we can be, and that we're strong and confident in these moments. And like I said, we're playing really good volleyball when it matters, and heading into the NCAA tournament.
How important is it to play, I don't know if your best is the right way to phrase it, A&M style of volleyball before you start, like that last game, like to finish with 3 really good performances?
100%. And we've talked a lot about consistency is the number one thing that I think great teams have, is that they show up every single day, and it won't be 100% the same every single day, but every single day of practice is pretty similar. Every single match is pretty similar, and you can count on that when you get to those pressure situations, that I know, hey, we're playing this style of volleyball, and we can just continue to do that, and that's good enough to win a lot of volleyball matches. And you really need that in the tournament when things are tested. when it's win or go home, when everything's on the line of, hey, I trust the game that we have, that I'm going to have it today, and that it's good enough to go win. So I think it's huge. And again, it's not perfect. It's just go out and play our style of volleyball.
What's the schedule like? You play South Carolina, and then how quickly do you find out your NCAA fate?
So, yeah, if people want to tune in, Sunday, 5 o'clock, ESPN. And then really cool thing, if you've fallen in love with this game, you've been paying attention to what's going on in the country, ESPN actually for the first time ever is doing a bracket challenge similar to the men's and women's basketball tournament. I think with a $10,000 prize for whoever gets the highest score on that. So tune into ESPN 5 o'clock Sunday. That'll be the selection show. We'll be together as a team figuring out where we go and what we're going to do, or hopefully maybe, fingers crossed, possibly small chance that we host. And then start getting to work on Monday with preparing for whoever that team is.
So when you first walked in here 2 years ago, you had talked about how much volleyball had grown. In your 2 years here, it has absolutely grown in this community.
Yep.
How's it growing nationally?
Exponentially. Actually, someone was just asking yesterday where it was being played, the Final Four, sorry. And I was like, oh, it's in Louisville at the Yum Center. And I'm like, I think I said at first, it's only 15,000 seats. And I think if you rewind 10 years for a sport, that would be crazy. And I looked it up, it's 21,000. And they're going to set, actually, it's already sold out.
Wow.
So again, sports growing. Actually, you can see attendance growing here. We're still, I don't know, 15th, something like that. And it's grown exponentially, but there's room for it to grow here, which is crazy. And again, like for me, like what has happened is amazing. And I love that I get so many people that are coming to me saying, hey, I've never been to a volleyball game. That was the most fun I've had at a sporting event. And I've heard that 5 or 10 times.
Right.
And I think people in this community are starting to fall in love with our girls, with the game, with the way that we play it, with the atmosphere that we have at Reed. And that makes me extremely happy inside.
Good luck to you, brother. Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it.
Appreciate you. Jamie Morrison here on TexAgs Live. We'll come back with the KBTX Roundtable. Right now, your car wash tradition with the friendliest staff and a personal touch is Aggie-Land Express Car Wash. They've got 2 locations in College Station, the original that I go to all the time on William D. Fitch, and the newest location on Texas Avenue. That's the one with the first full-service wash. It is the newest in town. They'll take care of all the cleaning, the drying, you name it. They've got you taken care of. And we're going to give a free full-service wash away right now. Caller number 1, 979-693-1150. You get that $40 value. I need that first caller. 979-693-1150. It is Aggie-Land Express Car Wash, the Texas Avenue location with that free car wash. There is no crying in the studio. It's TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. What?
I was just a little concerned. We were talking in the commercial break. I was a little concerned post-game, wondering about David's mental health.
Yeah, I take these games personally when I put the fan hat on. I can take a step away and look, that I am not surprised by what happened at Auburn. Travis, were you? I mean, surprised by the start. That's what surprised me.
Yeah, I was surprised by the start. I thought that if Auburn was going to have a chance, it was going to be like the reverse. I thought Auburn was going to have to make a comeback at the end and kind of put a nail in it that way. But yeah, I was really surprised because the defense has been pretty good early so far, and maybe South Carolina a little iffy, but in all the other games, it hasn't been a question of them waking up or anything like that.
Actually, I think if you go back to the LSU game, though, that the defense, I think the defense struggled with LSU initially.
Fair.
And that's 3 SEC games in a row to me that I'm like, hey, what's up with these starts?
Yeah. The thing that's kind of been interesting too is, you can see the run defense at times at South Carolina wasn't great. Tackling hasn't been great. The thing that kind of the linchpin that puts all together is the pass rush just hasn't really gotten there. And when they've gotten that good pass rush, everything else has kind of fallen into place. The defensive backs don't have to cover for as long, everything like that. So I've been really curious to see kind of what's been going on with the pass rush.
What do you think it is? Nicole, do you have any thoughts? Because I feel like A&M, for large stretches of this season, the blitz has helped the pass rush look better than sometimes it has been, but recently it just hasn't been there.
Yeah, I don't know if they're feeling a lot more pressure knowing that the secondary has been exposed. I feel like the defense normally, as the season goes on, gets better, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like we're seeing them trend down, I guess, or just not
in the wrong direction. Yeah.
Yes, just not being. It's like it's kind of like they're reeling from South Carolina, just weren't able to tackle, right? And then it's like, okay, just go back to the basics. You got to collapse, and this is how it happens. But I just feel like they are not as confident in themselves, or they're just falling behind. And once they get exposed, then you're down a score. Okay,
right.
Now then it compounds. But I feel like if they just put everything they have into this Texas game, and just people will forget about anything that's happened this season if they win this game.
Trev, I think I misspoke because I think in the South Carolina game, the pass rush was there. They just didn't tackle.
Yeah, they didn't. They got home. They got there a few times.
There were 7 sacks that they missed, I think it was.
Were able to wiggle out of it. But then that's kind of a weird deal because you do have Sellers bootlegging out, and how much of that is design, scramble drill, and how much of it is. So yes, they were able to get back there and not necessarily get him down. But I still haven't. Even that plays into it. Pass rush, you got to get the quarterback on the ground.
Right.
So yeah, I'm curious to see what that pass rush looks like. Texas has a pretty good offensive line, but Quinn Ewers a little hobbled looks like too. So maybe that plays into their advantage as well. When I go back to the Auburn game, the thing that stands out to me the most, and I know the offense did a lot to get back into that game, but it was the 3 drives that started inside the 50. That you only get 3 points on.
Right.
You got to punch at least one of those in. And I know the red zone, they still went 5 for 5 in the red zone, but it's that just right outside the red zone that they're having some troubles with. And you got to make more of those opportunities. You don't get 2 shank punts in a game, and you got to punch in some more points on that. That's the difference in the game.
Yeah. Here's one thing that I took away, and I want both of you guys' thoughts on this. I feel like whatever narrative has been out there this season about the opponents, take the other. Because Notre Dame's offensive line was supposed to be freshmen and terrible, right? Oh, these guys have no experience. There was no pass rush in that game. This past week, Peyton Thorne had a hurt shoulder. What did he do? He threw for 300 yards. A couple weeks before that, South Carolina had given up 27 sacks. And I've got 0 sacks. So yeah, the Quinn Ewers point is well taken. If they can capitalize on that, but don't you feel like that's been kind of a theme this year, Nicole?
Yeah, you're going into it and it's just like, this is the narrative. This is what A&M has to do to get it done. But then it's like, okay, we watched the game happen, and then I remember just looking over. So Morgan and I were editing in the studio or in the station, And I just, every touchdown, I just like looked over at her and looked over it. And it's like, what you want to take the other team. So then it's like going into this Texas game, it's like, okay, you have the environment of Kyle Field. And I just feel like that I just keep going back to, if they win, that it's just going to be such a great environment that, you know, people will forget about the Auburn and South Carolina game.
Travis, do you look into, Texas hasn't played a road night game this year. They haven't played a team of significant ilk. Do you look at that as a real thing, or is that just more sports talk?
I think there is something. I mean, you look at Auburn. I think that there is something to a night game in front of a big crowd that can pull something out of a team that you haven't seen so far that season. I mean, they've had a decent offense, but you mentioned Peyton Thorne with the hurt shoulder and everything like that. So I think there is something to being on the road in a night game and not maybe being in that experience, but. The Red River Shootout, that's a rowdy atmosphere.
Yeah, but no quarterback. I mean, it was the backup to the backup played in that game for Oklahoma, right? Like
that's fair. I mean, but just handling the environment,
yeah, sure.
that is as good as a night game environment. I know it's split 50-50, but I think there's like I give half credit to that.
Okay.
In this situation, because yeah, they haven't seen anything like what Kyle Field is going to be on Saturday night this year, but they have some comparable experience. So I don't know. I give it a half credit.
But I also think one thing that you can say, Nicole, talk about this. They've gotten, look, I think they were legit good. This is like, I'm not saying they're not.
Texas?
Yeah, they're legit good. They are. But they, like, what quarterbacks did they face? They faced Diego Pavia, okay. But like, Florida third string quarterback.
And he's fresh off of New Mexico State.
Yeah, well, but I mean, he's been legit all year long. But they've taken on some banged up players or teams. So I'm not taking things. I guess I am taking something away from them. I'm just saying, if I am looking for strategic points of view of like, hey, they haven't really seen this, and I'm not saying Marcel Reed is that either. But they haven't seen a night environment. They haven't seen the go-to guy in a lot of these road games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, their best wins are Vanderbilt and Arkansas. And if you play those games at night, I think if they were to play a night game in Arkansas, that would have been a little different. But yeah, I think that this is going to be their toughest test of the year, coming into a hostile environment. They've had all, 11 a.m. games? I don't remember their last afternoon game, but
they've had a couple afternoons, but they're only night games
11.
at home.
Yeah, it's crazy how like the schedule. Sarkisian was asked about what the routine is going to be like for them going into this night game. They're going to keep it the same. They're going to come up on Friday, but they'll be sitting around all day, and that will be different for them. And versus A&M being so familiar with that, and I think it'll just be like this is with Marcel. Sark knows he's a dual threat quarterback that they have to watch, and that's why they're so good in the red zone. Is because you have to keep your eyes on him also instead of just the playmakers on the outside. So I think that this is the toughest test for Texas and, a test that they maybe haven't quite seen yet this year.
Well, I will give them credit here, Travis. They have taken care of business, right? While other teams have fallen to lesser opponents, Texas has not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've made it through. They have, kind of like A&M up until this last stretch. I don't think A&M always passed the eye test, but they had a killer instinct. They knew how to come out of the ball game with a win. I think there is something to that with Texas as well. But kind of to that same point of what we were talking about too. I mean, you look at the resumes, what you're kind of talking about, and the fact that they have no top 25 wins this season. They're going to come in and play as A&M. If they don't win this game, they might be playing for their college football playoff life as well, because we don't know. Today is going to be really telling tonight with how the committee ranks some of these SEC teams that took some losses and the organization of it all, because if they dock some of these teams a lot, I mean, Texas could look at going into, could be like 2014 all over again with Ohio State, Baylor, and TCU, and how, everything was sound until that Ohio State-Michigan game, and all of a sudden Ohio State is moved up 6 spots and in it because they were waiting for that one game. if A&M wins, and then especially if A&M somehow manages to win the SEC title game, steal a bid, basically, Texas could be out, like, with that resume. So it's so cool that there is so much on the line in this game for both teams that, yeah, they're third right now, but one loss of that caliber, who knows?
All right, let's hit a break here. We'll come back with another segment. It's the KBTX Roundtable. I don't think I told people it was the KBTX Roundtable.
Ooh, we went straight into crying.
We're just supposed to randos off the street.
Yeah, a bunch of randoms here in this. But you know what's not random? Here's a bad segue. Caldwell Country Chevrolet, not random at all. They are the place to go when you're looking for a brand new vehicle. They're not far, and they're going to give you the best customer service and the best pricing. That's what you get when you go to Caldwell Country Chevrolet. An experience like no other when you're trying to find a car, because the trade-in value is always going to be great. Good selection, great selection, trucks, you name it, whatever you're looking for. But also the customer service extends beyond that. They have complimentary pickup and delivery for their service customers. They also have free oil changes for the life of your vehicle as long as you own that vehicle from Caldwell Country Chevrolet. We're talking about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. Short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. Yeah, I'm not having coffee. I'm having just a little sippity sip
What's that cup over there?
It's a sippity sip. That's what I said. I'm not even a full cup. I've been teeing it up since Thursday of last week.
Are you
Cutting my caffeine.
Zero?
No,
Cold turkey?
No, I'm just cutting. There's a process to it.
Yeah, but are you getting to that?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
I think so. I don't know. We'll see. I experiment with myself. Sorry. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Khalida, I know you've got some news for us.
I do have some news. The University of North Carolina released this morning that they informed head coach Mack Brown that he will not return to be their head coach next season. And I'll read part of his statement. He said, "While this was not the perfect time and way in which I imagined to go out, no time will ever be the perfect time. I've spent 16 seasons at North Carolina and will always cherish the memories and relationships here." So
we'll see him back at ESPN real soon, Travis, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I guess he's finishing out the end of the season. Okay.
yeah, he just won't coach.
I was going to say, could we see him at the game this weekend if he's? But no, he'll
He has.
be finished out.
I did talk to him last week, and he has the NC State game, the afternoon game, and he's recording the Texas A&M game, and we'll watch it when he gets home.
Wow. He was very nice, wasn't he?
He was very sweet.
Yeah. All right. Closing thoughts here. We got about 2 minutes in this short segment because we went long the last one.
Who are we, by the way?
KBTX Roundtable people.
You haven't said.
Nicole Griffith is in
People
the house.
don't know who we are.
Travis Brown's in the house, and there's no crying in studios. So
or coffee.
No. Look, that's a little.
That's
a
half
shot.
cup.
That's black.
2 fingers
though.
of
black.
Okay.
Yeah, a little black coffee. Hey, let's sip for everybody. Hey, everybody. As we were saying. Oh, that's good.
That's good right there.
That's good. Good cup of coffee. TexAgs coffee. Beat the hell out of mornings by going to texags.com/coffee. Friends, thoughts on what has to happen this weekend?
Start quick. Can't fall behind. I liked how Elko said, well, I mean, I don't like it, but I like that Elko said that they have given up too many explosive plays to be good on defense. And that's not a call out, but it's like, this is where we fall.
But that's who you are right now,
Yeah,
right? If this is the last game of the season, that's who they are.
And so it's like I'm so excited to be on the sideline for this game, and it's going to be loud. I might bring in earplugs. I haven't decided yet. I don't know if I'm.
People actually do that.
People, LSU was really loud.
Yeah.
Because they brought their band, and then I was just like, I might need an earpiece for this game. But start quick, don't fall behind, and then like Travis said, when you're in the red zone on the cusp of it, you can't be trading 3s for 7s.
Travis, 20 seconds.
Oh, yeah, I think pass rush needs to step up and affect Quinn Ewers, especially if he's a little bit hobbled. You're going to, one-on-one, sometimes you're going to give up big plays every now and then. It's the busted coverages that throughout the season that's been concerning to me on with the defensive secondary. Those, when it's just a communication issue, those need to be cleaned up. And then maybe try to establish the run a little bit. Maybe run that RPO game a little bit more. I've just been I liked a few times they've run that RPO game, and it's been really effective with Marcel back there.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you very much. All right, we'll be back. We've got Jordan Pugh on the other side. It's TexAgs Live. All right, let's keep it real. It's TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. We go to the Boss Firearms Hotline. That's where we find Jordan Pugh. Jordan, you coming to town this week?
No, I am not. Can't make it this week. Yeah, man, we gotta do some baby things going on this weekend, man. So all the family will be here. So I gotta make that the priority this week.
I get it, man. I get it. All right, you and I during games we go back and forth. Buddy, I don't like our exchanges recently. You know, South Carolina, part of the LSU game, and obviously this past weekend at Auburn.
Yeah. I mean, you know, look, I was disappointed after this past weekend's game. I thought that offensively, I thought we did what we needed to do. I thought our offense played well, contrary to belief, man. I just think that we played well on offense. We had some sputters at the beginning, but we got things going. Defensively is what I was disappointed in. I thought that we gave up too many plays. We were out of position a lot. We didn't fix the issues with condensed formations. They were getting to the perimeter on us on the run game. Too many mental errors in the secondary, and it got us behind in that 21-0 hole. Right now, what I do love is, and this is where I think that our team is different. What I do love is how we constantly fight back. That's the one difference that I see, man. I think that's the one of the things that Elko was built into this team, man, is a way just to continue to fight through and take the lead in the game, man. That tells you a lot about the character of a team. And so, man, you've seen it throughout the season. You know, you can go back to the LSU game. You can look at what we did just throughout the other games, and now leading into Auburn, being able to fight back from deficits and have a chance to win. That's what you want. I thought this was just a stinker on defense, but offensively, we made the plays that we needed to play, that we needed to make. But defensively, man, we can't have those slow starts. We can't do that. We got to be better at tackling. We got to be better in positioning on defense, and we just got to make plays. I think that'll take care of itself this week, man. I'm looking forward to this weekend. It was disappointing, but man, everything that you want's in front of you. You're at home. You know, it's a win in your in situation in the SEC. This is what you wanted at the end of the year, and this to be year one, to be playing for an SEC title berth, to be playing for a college football berth, and year one with what we've done and we positioned ourselves. It's exciting, and I think, man, there's a lot to look forward to. There's a lot to play for.
Talking to Jordan Pugh here on TexAgs Live. All right, let's kind of take things in parts. Slow starts. Yep. That's been kind of a theme. They've had some slow starts. And this goes back a while. This is not just, the last two games. Like, I mean, the LSU game was a slow start, and the ones before that, we won't necessarily go into it. When you've been on teams that had slow starts, how did you guys fix it?
You just got to execute better. At this point in time in the season, I've said this the past couple times that I've been on, it's on the players at this point, as far as the execution standpoint. You got to be able to understand the urgency. You got to be able to understand what's at hand. Now, with that being said, I think part of the slow starts is the lack of aggression that we've shown in play calling. And whether it's from a defensive standpoint, in creating pressures and creating long down and distances. We're looking at from the offensive standpoint, how we haven't opened up the playbook until it's been necessary, until we've been in a deficit, until we have created running plays for Marcel, until we've added more boots, waggles, those type of options in. Man, we haven't been aggressive from the jump. And I think, man, going into this game, understanding what's at stake, understanding what's in front of us, man, it's time to open up the playbook, unload the clip, per se, and let the offense flow. Because you have a dynamic quarterback. You know what we can do in the run game. Our run game continues to do its job. We got more explosive in the pass game this past weekend. Everything's in front of us. Now, I think the aggressive play calling and mindset from the coaching standpoint has to take place now. And I think that's the difference you'll see this week.
Talking to Jordan Pugh, TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. What are you seeing from the defensive line? Because it isn't as easy as the sack numbers aren't there. Are you seeing them making mistakes? Is it all about the holding calls that aren't being called, holding that's not being called? What's up with the defensive line?
I'm seeing teams that have found what works against us. It started, well, I can go back and I can say it started against LSU, but LSU didn't do it as prevalent. South Carolina really exposed it with condensed formations. The condensed formations, the tight splits by the slot receiver is really messing with us defensively, and it's allowing extra protection, max protection, chips protections, and it's not allowing our guys to get free rushes. And I think when you have the condensed formation, it allows for quick rhythm throws, 3-step drops that allows the quarterback to get the ball out of his hands, but it creates an extra level of an offensive player that our defenders have to go through. And I think that's how players are scheming us. When you look at this game, I can already tell you what Sark is going to do. Sark is going to condense these formations. He's going to do a lot of motions. You're going to see a lot of orbit-type motions that'll get us to try and violate our responsibility with our eyes, but also until we show that we can adjust to that, until we can show that we can stop the perimeter runs out of the pin and pull blocks that a lot of teams do, you're going to see a lot of that this weekend. Now, I think that we can make that adjustment. I know that Elko has everything to make it. I just think that defensively, we have to get more simplistic. And I think that we need to let our guys be guys. We need to let our pass rushers be pass rushers. And I think we can do that this week. We know the intensity. We know the anticipation. But I think that simple adjustment where sometimes less is more. Sometimes it's, hey, man, it's me versus you. Let me win my one-on-one battle. That's what we need to see this week. Those are the adjustments that we need to make this week going forward, especially on defense.
How concerned are you with the secondary?
That's a rising concern. I'm not in any type of DEFCON mode, but it's a rising concern because we've been inconsistent. I don't know why we've been inconsistent. Injuries can have a part in that, losing some guys. But I just think, man, we've just had a lot of mental errors, and it's been guys trying to do too much in the secondary. Man, one of the hardest things, at the safety position is when you play safety, you see everything. But when you see everything, you see nothing. And I see a lot of guys losing their man, losing their responsibility in zone concepts because they see too much in front of them. So a lot of the stuff that is going on defensively, we can fix that. We can really get that taken care of, but it comes to discipline. In the secondary, a lot of it has to do with your eyes. And I think if we can get the eye discipline corrected, man, we'll be fine in the back end.
Talking to Jordan Pugh here on TexAgs Live. So defensively overall, it feels like it's been going down. But can the last few games on the road be who you really are? Or do you still look at the totality of 11 games leading up to this one?
I look at the totality of it. We've been a good defense. We haven't adjusted well to what offenses have done to us. I will go back to the condensed formations. The way that you stifle the pass rushes, you condense the formation to create extra protection. All right, an extra layer of offensive players that you have to go through in order to get to the quarterback. That has stifled us. What also that has allowed is that's allowed a lot more perimeter run through pin and pull. And we just haven't made the adjustment. The frustrating part for me being a defender, a former defensive player, is those are easy adjustments to make. And I don't know why we're not adding an outside contained player. We're not attacking the initial point player in any type of condensed formation, the man on the line of scrimmage. I don't know why we're not bringing any perimeter pressure from corners, from safeties. Those things are easy adjustments that you can make, right? Now, with that being said, I think, we can make those adjustments. We have the personnel in order to do what we need to do from that standpoint. But for whatever reason, I don't know what they're seeing on film. I don't know what our personnel is like within those meeting rooms. I don't know what we're missing on that standpoint. But by the time that we do make those adjustments late in game, you've already given a team like Auburn hope. They've already gassed you on a few plays, and now we're playing catch up. I think we have to come out. We have to be able to align properly. If we get that proper alignment down, that nullifies a lot of the plays that Texas will run in the game. And I think you'll see the defense start to thrive because we'll put them in predictable down and distance situations, which will allow the pass rush to do what they need to do.
What do you think about Marcel recently? I mean, obviously he's got some mistakes, but I think he's growing as a passer.
I love what he's doing. You see the maturation process take place, man. You have your mistakes. I hear all the time on the broadcast talking about he's a freshman quarterback, 6 games starting. At this point, he's not a freshman anymore. He's seasoned. And I think, man, just through experience, going through those hostile road environments, him being to come in against LSU and be a spark, all those things matter in the build-up to this position now that we're in. And then what Marcel gives you is he gives you a third option when plays break down. And that third option is his legs. And those things are dangerous. That's a lot of what got us back in the game against Auburn. Man, Auburn, we fought back because we were able to hit explosive pass plays. We were able to continue to push our dominance in the run game. But having that third option, it creates an extra person that has to account for him. And, man, that's something that we're going to have to take advantage of because I don't think Texas will be able to take advantage of us offensively when you add that third element in.
Talking to Jordan Pugh, it's TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. You know, Noah Thomas has had a nice season. I feel like there's been stretches where hasn't gotten the ball a lot, and that might be, I don't know, it might be him, it might be the connection with the quarterback. But when he's had big games, they've been big games, like especially this last one.
Yeah, I just think, man, that comes with, I think that has been trying to figure out what this personnel group is. Think about it, man. He's had two quarterbacks that have been in throughout the season. He's had two quarterbacks that have two completely different skill sets. So he's had to mold this offense on the run this year and be able to fit what he has per quarterback. So now when you look at what we've done in the past, we go back to the Auburn game, almost 300 yards passing for Marcel. Man, you saw a lot more one-on-one opportunities with our receivers, right? When you look at Jade and how he was making crucial catches within the game, you look at the explosive plays we had with Noah. A lot of that comes because there's a mobile factor with the quarterback. It creates one-on-one opportunities, and more people have to line in the box to account for that extra run threat. Now that you have that, that's opened up the pass game more. You saw that get started with the New Mexico State game, roll into the Auburn game, and now you're creating more problems for the defense to account for in the game planning phase coming up to this week. So, man, I think a lot of that has to do with understanding Marcel's skill set, understanding his run threat, and that allows the passing game to get open.
Talking to Jordan Pugh. Jordan, what about the offensive line? Obviously, getting Chase Basantis back, if he's a full go, it'll go a long way. What did you see this past weekend? Because I know there were some issues in South Carolina. What did you see this weekend?
I saw an offensive line that got better. The more and more I've gotten to think about it, the more and more I think that our offensive line group has been underrated in the coaching job that's taken place. We got back into that game really because of the run game that we had, the run threat that we had, how we had drives downfield that we just didn't capitalize on. From the first drive, I think it was 10 plays. Second drive was a 10-play drive, predicated a lot off the run game, which opened up the pass game from the second quarter on. And I don't think that we're getting enough love for what we're doing in the run game with our blocking, how we're creating holes, how it's opening up play action type plays, zone read, RPO type plays. Our offensive line is getting the job done. And I think with a lot of the guys coming back, being able to create the cohesiveness, understanding the energy, the adrenaline, the anticipation of this game, I think you're going to see us manhandle Texas. I don't think when it comes to a matchup standpoint that Texas has dealt with a run game like ours, right? The closest thing they had was Georgia, and they got run through. With our offensive line, that's been one of the strengths that we've had, one of the underlying strengths that we've had within the offense. And being able to take that run game, add the element of Marcel, man, it's going to be a problem for Texas. I'm looking forward to that matchup.
Jordan, this game here with Quinn Ewers, what does he do well, and where can A&M really not affect this game? Because I think the pass rush, if they get through that offensive line, but like where can A&M really make life hard for him?
Pressure through the middle. One thing that Quinn does well is he's really good in intermediate pass game. That's where he makes his hay. I think that Quinn, from an overall standpoint, is not one of the best quarterbacks that we played. I think that he's very stationary. I don't think he brings a lot of imagination to the offense. Now, one of the things that Quinn does very well is he manages the game very well. And he's able to find spots within defenses, spots within zones that he can hit and take advantage of. I think that if we can create pressure through the middle, one of the things that you saw against Georgia, one of the things that Kentucky did, Kentucky started bringing pressure through A gaps, through B gaps, and Quinn struggles with that. He struggles with things right down the middle, right down his face. So, man, being able to open up those opportunities, I think you can take advantage of that. He doesn't have the mobile aspect. And so, man, being able to have a sitting duck within the pocket, you take away the initial throw lanes from him, we can have a field day in the pass rush, sack game, QB pressure game, and create a lot of chaos within that offense.
Where else do you think Texas might be vulnerable?
I think Texas is vulnerable on the defensive side. I don't think Texas is a very physical football team. I think that we are more physical. I think that we have the advantage on the offensive line. I think we match each other well in the skill position game, from our offensive skill set to their offensive skill set and our defensive skill set. We match. I think where we have the advantage is in the front. The one thing that I have yet to see from Texas, and I told you I'm not a big believer in Texas, I've yet to see them be physical. Every time that Texas has been punched in the mouth, man, they've struggled. Kentucky showed a lot of vulnerabilities against Texas when it comes to physical run game play. They were able to open up a lot of pass lanes with Kentucky's offense because of the run game that was created within that. they're not a very physical football team. Georgia exposed a lot of who they are internally as a group. And I think that they're running up on another team who's going to punch them in the mouth. So with that being said, if we can get the run game going, that run game can open up the passing opportunities. You add the running element of Marcel, I think we can run right down their throat. Defensively, I think, man, being able to stifle their run, I think they're vulnerable in their run game. They're not very potent when it comes to running the football. Being able to take that away and make them predictable, that's in our favor as well. The physicality of this game is going to be key. The physicality is our advantage.
Talking to Jordan Pugh. Jordan, Texas gives up 12.1 points per game, which is in the top 3. I think it's number 1 in the SEC, but top 3 in the country.
Yeah.
How much does that number stick out to you? And maybe you have some thoughts on why that number is so low.
That number means absolutely nothing to me. When you look at the teams that they've played, they haven't played really explosive offenses. Outside of Georgia, Georgia got explosive on them. But when you look at the bread and butter of the SEC, the Ole Misses of the world, you can even throw Alabama in there, even though they're inconsistent. They haven't played a lot of explosive offense. Our offense is explosive. Our offense stays in games. Our offense creates big plays. So being able to do that is big. But when I look at that number is misleading, especially going against the level of competition. A lot of the teams that they played have been in quarterback carousels. They haven't had any type of consistency whatsoever within their offensive game plan and plays and personnel. And I think that we can really exploit that. I just think, man, I just truly believe that Texas is coming into a buzzsaw here. And I think that this is a prime matchup and a prime opportunity for us at A&M to expose what they don't do well. I just think it's prime, it's ready. I think it's ready for the world to see, the nation to see. We have the more physical football team, and that is the number one weakness of the University of Texas. And I think we exploit that this weekend.
What is the key, right? If you had to boil it down, what's the key in this one?
The key is our offensive line play against their defensive line play. Texas wants to be able to get upfield and rush the passer. So in order to rush the passer, they have to be able to get you into long down and distances in the first 2 downs, or excuse me, the second 2 downs, second and third down. If they can do that, then they can do what they really want to on defense. Now, with the pieces that we have coming back on offense, I think that we can exploit them heavily in the run game. Our run game is the most underrated thing that we have. And we have a 3-headed monster when you add that run element of Marcel. So I think if we can get into shorter, manageable distances on first down, we open up the playbook. We allow more options with RPOs, boots, waggles, play actions. And, man, I think we could really take advantage of them up front, and we can run away with this game.
Jordan, just atmosphere. I know that's been the kind of the dumb question that people bring up, but I think it's relevant now as we close out this interview. What's it going to be like on Saturday?
It's going to be crazy. It is going to be stupid. I wish I was there, man. Here's what I think a lot of people that haven't actually played in the game don't understand, man. The energy, the electricity, all the undescribable factors that you can try and use to describe this. You can't put it into words. Man, and now that it's taking a hiatus and you're bringing it back, the intensity level of this game is going to be unmatched. And the energy in that stadium, the players are going to thrive off of that. I really just think, man, it's setting up for a perfect scenario. When you have everything in front of you as a player, this is what you dreamed of. It reminds me when I was with the Redskins at the time in 2012, RG3's rookie year. We started off 3-7. We had to win our last 7 games to get into the playoff, and it came down to us versus the Cowboys. We win and we're in. Same situation. The electricity. Knowing that as a player is on you now. Coach has done his job. He's put us in position. Now we have to execute that. The electricity is going to be phenomenal, man. I can't wait to see that this weekend, man, and see how we counter that.
Jordan, I'm going to read one chat from YouTube from a Randy okay. Who's a Texas fan, but he's very kind. He's not a mean one.
Okay.
He goes, and I just want you to respond to it. You give me your thoughts after. Pugh definitely has his maroon-colored glasses on. That D is legit. Speaking of the defense of Texas, of course. So I'll let you take that thought and take it from there.
Well, everybody looks legit when you're going against JV talent. That's the first thing I would say. And then when you talk about maroon colored glasses on, man, well, it's a lot of orange colored glasses going on. Understanding, man, that matchups make everything. but also not understanding what we possess, right? And I think that it's going to be a rude awakening for a lot of the Texas fans when they see what A&M is really about this year. I am high on us because I'm high on Mike Elko. What I've seen from this team, the ups and downs, the adverse situations we've had from day one, the quarterback situations that we played through, the way that we fought back from big deficits in games, I think that Texas is walking into a buzzsaw. And I don't think they really understand what they're heading into. I'm excited to see us dominate this game. I'm excited to see us win this game. I believe we win by 2 scores. I think it's that big of a deficit. I'm not impressed with Texas. I think they're good. I think Sark makes them better because he is a hell of a play caller. But they're running into us. They're running into our D line, our skill set, but they're running into a Mike Elko culture team. And I think that's the difference.
All right, Jordan, I appreciate you, sir. Thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll talk to you next week. All right, man?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Gig 'em. Jordan Pugh here on TexAgs Live. All right, we'll hit a break. I don't know what's coming up next. I think I know, but I don't know. That's the Nuño-ism for Nick. Let's talk about Fritella Italian Cafe. They have delicious homemade Italian food. It's delicious when you go there. They make it with a lot of love, by the way, when you go. Fresh pasta, golden fried breadsticks, irresistible lasagna. Lasagna is a great word to say, isn't it? Lasagna. Famous cheesecake, too. And look, when I partake in desserts, I partake in the cheesecake community. I go to those meetings as well. Proud partner of Texas A&M Athletics. They have a passion for Aggie fans everywhere, and they want you to know that they have the same passion for the athletic program as you do. And if you can't go to them, no problem. They'll ship their products nationwide so you can enjoy Fritella from the comfort of your home. Plus, you can find them every Saturday at the Memorial Villages Farmers Market in Houston. Fritella, big company, guys. They've been owned by the same family that opened up Pino's in Houston, and they're proud to carry on the tradition of serving up the best Italian food in town. Come hungry, leave happy. It's Fritella. It's all about good food and great company. Check out Fritella's here in the Brazos Valley. I was down for a moment, but I'm back. As a reminder, the final segment of the show is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. Right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggie lineup since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com and your favorites are on their way. So, open segment. Who would have thought? Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. That's where we find Callie Garner. Calita, what do you have for us?
I kind of wanted to go back and talk about this challenge of playing on the road in the SEC. And I was just scouring the internet, and I was looking at the two games that Texas has won on the road. They're two true road games because you have the Red River game, which is not a true road game. They're 2-0. Their wins are over Vanderbilt and Arkansas. Do you know the total attendance between both of those games?
The total attendance?
Total between the Arkansas and Vanderbilt game together.
110,000.
103,863.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Oh! But, Callie, can I tell you my counter to that?
What is that?
Nick, you can pop in here because, we're wasting time here. Here's the truth. I know that to be true, but does it matter? The reason I say that, those dramatic pauses that I do sometimes, I don't even know I'm doing it. Louis does them too. We're dramatic pausing stations, what we do. The reason I say that, what's that?
I said, I wish I could capture the dramatic pause whenever I host. I always feel like I have to fill the air, but I haven't really gotten down the dramatic pause. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No. See how I paused there? No. Then I went. See, you just try it. It's like a soap opera. My point to you, and Nick, your thoughts here as well. All these talking points, you know what they are? Talking points.
Yeah.
Because, again, I know I brought it up earlier in the show. I can list all these things. Like, look, this happens to this team. We should crush them. And then we don't.
Crush them.
I'm putting myself on the team at the moment. I'm the 12th man. But they don't. Sometimes they do. There's nothing that's 100%. But, especially when I do these Nuño's notes and I'm talking to these insiders, they all give me, oh, man, your defensive line, our offensive line, we've given up 27 sacks. South Carolina. Oh, man, our quarterback, he can't complete a pass down the field. Then he looks like freaking Joe Montana. Peyton Thorne. The guy actually looked really good. And I know there's people who are going to take this for reals with a Z.
For reals.
But I blame myself for Peyton Thorne's because I said he was the worst quarterback I saw last year.
You looked at the numbers, he was.
That is still true.
But I said it out loud. And when I say it out loud, bad things happen. I also said some other things out loud that worked out in our favor. So it's not 100%. But Peyton Thorne, how many quarterbacks, do we have the numbers? How many quarterbacks have thrown for 300 yards against A&M?
Against A&M?
It can't be that many, right? So Peyton Thorne, I wouldn't say was the best quarterback. Who's the best quarterback A&M's faced this year, performance-wise?
Probably
Nuss for 7 minutes
Sellers.
was incredible.
Yeah, Sellers looked.
Lenoris was incredible, but because we couldn't tackle him.
Yeah.
Again, I'm on the team. I can say we. But beyond that, who has been, what quarterback? Man, throwing dimes. And I know we've seen it. Freaking Michael Van Buren looked awesome against A&M for a while. So I guess I'm starting to get loud again. I'm going to bring it back down. Your point is well taken. If you combine their 2 road SEC games, right? Because the neutral site game doesn't count in this.
Yeah.
And I forget who said it on the show. They're used to big atmospheres. Of course they are. All big college football teams are used to big atmospheres.
We're used to big atmospheres.
Yeah, but it can affect you. And I'm sorry, the Cotton Bowl. It's like people are eating corn dogs. They're hugging each other. There's clowns, right? There's clowns at the Cotton Bowl. I don't know.
I've never been.
I've been once.
I don't like clowns.
I had to do a hit from the Cotton Bowl once. I don't know.
I think
People are,
only Nussmeier threw for 300 against A&M.
Okay.
He threw for 400.
He 4 or 5, but
oh, that's right. He did.
Nuss and Peyton Thorne.
Yeah. How much of that did he throw in the first half? Do you have that number in front of you, Nick, as he puts the dramatic pause?
Hold on,
finger?
let me do a little more digging.
Yeah, do some digging on that because I'd be curious to know. By the way, in a few minutes, I'm probably going to get some hate email, but it's all right. It doesn't happen. We're going to talk to Selvin Young on the other side. I think we're going to talk to him here momentarily. Do you have that number for us, Nick? I see your face saying no, so that it doesn't. I remember him having ridiculous numbers in the first half. And by the way, in the second half, when A&M went on their run and they couldn't run, they were having to pass quite a bit. So regardless, we'll get that number on the other side. We'll hit a break here. We will come back, I think, with Selvin Young. It is Thanksgiving. People are on planes, apparently. People are busy. It happens. Bird dog. I yelled it. I think the 3 sips of caffeine from the coffee are starting to hit me now. Usually it hits me at 6:42. It's hitting me at 10:33. I'm excited again. They're an Aggie-owned, operated company creating access to hunting opportunities. Nick was here for it. I don't know if Callie was here. Stephen McGee apparently got a play-by-play of my first quail that I dismembered, that I destroyed, that I shot, that I later ate and enjoyed. There was a reenactment of my shooting form. It wasn't great. It wasn't great. I was kind of leaning back. It's on Instagram. But you know what? It was my first time. We all remember our first time. It was a great hunt. I really appreciate the great people there at Bird Dog. They can do it for you. They create these awesome hunting activities and atmospheres because they are basically an Airbnb for ranchers and for hunters, seasoned hunters, and first-timers. Again, that website is birddogit.com. Birddogit.com. Check it out for a great hunt. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. About 4 years ago, I met our next guest, and I didn't want to like him. That's the facts. Like, you want to hate your rivals. This dude was so nice, so kind, and is doing great things for the community. Selvin Young joining us on the Boss Firearms Hotline. Selvin, what's up, my man?
Hey, how you doing today? Good to see you.
Great to see you too, man. How ready are you for this game?
I'm super ready. I mean, I pulled my helmet out from my old days. I'm looking for my cleats. I won't use the mouthpiece, but if I can get out there, hell, I get out there and go.
So what does this game mean to a Texas former player that played in this rivalry, and what do you think it means to the current players?
Well, for us right now, as a former player, it means fun for me. I get to rekindle some of those old challenges. I had a bunch of buddies that, went to A&M and stuff like that. In high school, everybody, half the people went to Texas or half went to A&M. So it's fun, to bring that back and be able to talk smack a little bit. But for the guys on the field, I mean, hopefully this is serious business. I mean, it means a lot, this game, the implications that it could have, to go out and accomplish the ultimate goal, which is to win a national championship.
All right, so from a person that watches them, is Texas as good as their record? Because there is the thought they haven't played that many good teams. And then you look at the other teams, they've lost to bad teams, and Texas has not done so.
I feel like we are, the record at this point, that record shows a loss. So that shows the imperfection in our armor. We have had some injuries that we had to battle through. I do feel like these guys are starting to click and they're starting to get there. I saw Quinn banged up a little bit at the end, but that's just an ankle. So a true warrior, that's not even, it's mind over matter. So we're looking forward to playing the way we've been playing. Guys are having to step up and play through injuries and get it done. So that's exactly who we are and what I'm expecting this weekend.
Was there a hate towards the A&M players, or was it just a rivalry of guys that you grew up playing against, and because of that, like, you just had to get them?
Yeah, definitely all love, definitely opposite of hate. So, childhood friends and stuff like that. I mean, Vince, he had his running back in high school was Courtney Lewis, and he goes to A&M and he runs for 1,000 yards as a freshman. So, in the summertime, he would come down to Austin, or we would even go down to College Station and hang out with him. So, we had fun. We talk smack. I mean, we go at each other, and then, hey, we sit down and have dinner, have drinks. And, I know a lot of buddies of mine who've married Aggies and vice versa. So, it's a big family here in Texas. I mean, we're always going to go for each other when we're not going against each other. But, yeah, it's definitely a good rivalry that I'm excited to have back.
And when Texas decided to go to the SEC, actually, I want to go before that. When A&M left, okay, what were you thinking? Like, man, we're not going to get this game again. Did you want it back? Did you not care? Were you ready to turn to the page? And now that it's officially back.
I'm always going to say that they left and was running from Texas. They was running from beatings we was giving them all. I mean, so, that's why I thought they left. But, ultimately, it looks like that they were out seeking, a better group pool of talent, and they found it. And I'm glad we were right behind them to come in there and do some of the same things. For it's been our first year to be on top, pretty much from beginning to end. I mean, I like to see it. So those guys are basically saying that we wasn't ready or developed enough to do it, But, hey, I'm looking forward to the challenge. I know next year the schedules will straighten up and toughen up, and, people still have something to say, and we're still going to be Texas. So I'm looking forward to it.
So what you're saying is Texas had to follow A&M to the SEC. Got it. I just wanted to make sure I understood that correctly. And by the way,
follow the money.
Hey, by the way, Texas's schedule next year is the exact same schedule, but it's flipped. The difference is Ohio State instead of Michigan, and that's legit. Okay, I'm not saying it's not. Like, that's legit.
Yeah.
But the SEC opponents, same ones, just flipped.
Yeah. Well, shoot, I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually looking forward to Ohio State again. Last time they came to Austin, I mean, it was a little fun. I think I was in that game. I remember going up there to the Horseshoe and beating those guys to go on and win a national championship. So, it's fun to watch SEC football. It actually makes me want to get on the road and go out and see some away games. So it brought it more fun to me. I'm excited. I think fans are loving it. The guys are loving it. The competition, the TV games every week. I mean, hey, this is big time.
Hey, Selvin, when I met you, you were making sure that the community was able to get fresh vegetables. Are you still doing that? Kind of catch us up to where your life is.
Well, I feel like I've been lucky. I've been blessed. I got a bunch of good friends, golf buddies that own distribution centers and have a lot of access to fruits, vegetables, meats, and all those type of things. I've got some partnerships with some law firms, Dashby Law Firm. We were out yesterday and all this weekend giving out turkeys. I'm more of an empowerment person. I like to reach out to groups that have things going on and likes to get out in the community, and I like to see how I can enhance that. So, someone says, hey, I could do this for about 50 people, then I try to make it 100 people or 200 people if I can. So I'm just, that's just what I enjoy doing. Playing football, that's one thing we've learned. I mean, it's a group of guys and everybody look out for each other. And so that's what I'm going, I've gained.
Hey, are you coming to the game this weekend?
I'm thinking about it. Vince is trying to get me to ride up with him. Buddy of mine, Dashby, is trying to get me to ride up with him. So I may end up there. It'll be fun to see it, to think about those good old days. I mean, I remember in high school, I was at Jersey Village, it's straight down the street. So, I was watching Ty Warren and Wynn and all those guys. Rome. What were they called? They were called and they had the name for their defense back then.
The Wrecking Crew?
The name. The Wrecking Crew, yeah.
Yeah.
So, hey, I know about the history there. Slocum, I mean, shoot. I almost thought about going up the street there. So it's all family, it's all love, but at the end of the day, tomorrow and the next day, these guys should be preparing for a battle. It should be something that we're going to take care of and not look past. Have fun doing it, do it with class, and get ready to see Georgia in this SEC championship game.
Selvin, I appreciate your time. Happy Thanksgiving. Hope to see you on the sidelines. I'll come say hello.
Good to see you, buddy.
Take
Peace.
care, man. Selvin Young.
All right.
Bringing
Bye.
it here on TexAgs Live. And yes, great guy. Bottom line, great guy. So I appreciate his time here on the program. We'll hit a break here. We'll come back with a final segment. We'll talk a little Bonfire with Deion McInnis. That and more is TexAgs Live. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's talk a little Bonfire. Deon McInnis, who's been on the show several times, joining us here on the program. Deon, how you been?
Outstanding, David. How about you?
Great. Board member, and what other titles can I give you?
Board member, former head stack of those first ones off campus, general guy around, I guess.
Advisor. Yeah. And advisor.
Advisor, there you go.
Mason Taylor, Red Pot, with us as well. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thanks, sir.
So let's just talk about it. Could catch us up on Bonfire season and getting it ready and where we are.
Yeah.
It's been a pretty big season for us, obviously, with the TU game coming up. So what that means is a lot more resources coming in. So a lot more people are recognizing that we are here. So if you saw earlier in the season, we got cut class back in Rudder Auditorium. That's the first time in over 25 years that it's been there. Yeah, so it was a pretty big deal for us to actually be on campus. Then some additional resources this year, and we've had a great cut season and great stack seasons. Probably one of the largest fires in about 20 years. So pretty exciting stuff.
Can you tell a different energy level because it is the Texas game?
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot more fish and a lot more participants who are wanting to come in. You know, people just walk right up to you like, hey, how can I get involved in Bonfire? You know, we know the TU game's coming back. How can I get involved? Tons and tons of emails and phone calls and lots of people wanting to come in. And that comes from the student body and from former Ag. So it's really cool to see.
Deon, for you, how cool has it been to watch that same, like you were part of it when it was Texas and now it's finally back?
Yeah, it's been motivating. It's been motivating to see the people come in. But the thing that's been the most made it motivating for me is I recognize that there's a lot of people who came in because, Texas. And then they get in and they go to a couple cuts and they fall in love with it. And, you know, even as we're looking at this burn ban, that motivation has already changed. And people understand that, Texas, it's fun. Let's be honest. It's a fun thing to do before we beat the hell out of Texas. But the love that people have for Bonfire in this community, you realize what it's really about. So it's been awesome to watch that transformation in every Aggie that participates.
I want to talk about the burn ban because it's a huge storyline. Obviously, we don't know what it's going to look like here in a couple of days. But I want you, Deon, you started us off with it, Mason, you followed up. Just this community you talk about, like people think it's not just a job. It is a brotherhood that lasts like for years. There's fellowship that lasts for years and years.
Yes. It's, hell, I had 9 groomsmen because I couldn't figure out how many of my Bonfire buddies I could fit in. It becomes something that follows you your whole life. It is a challenge that you chase that dragon for the rest of your life. And we've got special operators in the community, military special operators who say they're still chasing the dragon and trying to find something as hard as participating in and leading Bonfire. It is transformational. It's just extraordinary. And though there have been things that have changed over the years, the constant is that community and that brotherhood and finding challenges and introducing each other to each other's potential. It's an outstanding thing. So in that way, it's the same. Everything that's happening is the same. The outhouse is now a familiar color from the way I remember when building it. But, everything else down to the core is the same. It's beautiful.
What about your brotherhood and these lifelong friends you've made?
Yeah, it's about not only building the fire, but building the community that builds the fire, right? So it's incredible to be able to reach out to the old guys, from even pre-99, and you can still compare stories with them. The fire is different than it was, but the process, the smells, the looks are all still the same. So you get really close with those people around you. You're working really hard for years on end to build this thing. And that's an experience like no other. Not a whole lot of kids get to come to college and their Monday morning is spent driving a semi-truck down Highway 6 or going out and fixing a tractor. So it's an incredible experience that you get to do with people. You get to teach people new skills, and through those skills, they're hard things to learn. It's hard work. And so through that hard work and learning those skills, the community gets built up around, and it's something that's an unbreakable bond for sure, and not something you can find anywhere else.
Deon, it catches up too because you can't go anywhere around town and not see the signs that say burn ban in effect. So we're kind of in a dicey point right now with the game a couple of days away.
Yeah. So the burn ban in Robertson County, I believe Brazos County is the same. They reference the Keach-Byram Drought Index, the KBDI. That's a product of Texas A&M. It's a data-driven model that is an index of just not only how dry is it and how dry has it been, but it also ends up indexing on how much combustible material is on the ground. So it's a really great and useful representation of the fire danger. And right now, Robertson County all over is in some really high fire danger. And in fact, counties all surrounding Robertson County, it is not a good situation. And so Robertson County, using the Texas Forest Service advice, has 575 as the threshold KBDI before it's considered safe. And they are well over that number. So today they're going to have a meeting this afternoon, and they're going to decide whether or not to lift the burn ban. But all the respect in the world for Robertson County, 575 is the number. If that number is higher than 575, it is not safe for the people in that community. And frankly, we're very close to Brazos County. It is not safe to allow anybody to burn anything, especially a 4-story tall, 1,000-ton log structure. So,
and the important thing to remember is though Bonfire itself is in a low spot, so we're walking around, we're still in the mud in some areas. Right. We've talked to fire from previous years, and they're catching embers from up to 5 to 10 miles away.
Wow.
So even last year, after days and days of rain, it's one of the wettest seasons we had last year, they were fighting fires 5 miles out. So it spreads a lot.
So we have about a minute and a half left here, a little bit less than that. Just then what? You're living this in real time. You have to wait, and then I'll let you take it from there, Dion.
So the precedent is, we've done it a few times before. Stack side has opened up. People can come out and look and walk around. I'm telling you, it is a unique feel. The first time that we did that, I was blown away. People just hanging out, comparing notes across generations.
Taking pictures, right?
Taking pictures, bringing a picnic blanket. And then eventually in the spring, when that number gets to a safe level and all of the Aggie students are back, we want to make sure every Aggie that participated in or is interested has the opportunity to see it burn. In the spring, we'll burn it. We'll let everybody know. We'll have TexAgs live streaming it, 12 Fires generously providing that stream. Everybody will get a chance to experience burning Bonfire.
That's happened a couple times in the last few years, right?
It has.
4 times, yes, sir.
Well, I thank you for your passion and for continuing this awesome tradition that really makes A&M one of the most unique places, if not the most unique university. It is, right?
It is, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. And Bonfire is like the atmosphere is going to be. It's going to be electric. So thank you both for coming in and doing that.
Thanks, David.
All right, we'll hit a break here. Tomorrow on the program, I got a lot. That I can guarantee you. What it is, I don't remember, but it'll be good. I'm kidding. Bronny will be with us. John Harris. We'll see you then.